As they approach the midway point of the season, the Saskatchewan Rush are starting to hit their stride. A complete effort in Philadelphia last week produced their third straight win, giving the Rush a 2-game lead atop the West Division. Now they face another stiff test as they take on a Toronto Rock team that hit the halfway mark at 6-3 despite a long list of injuries. A wounded animal is a dangerous one, and the Rock won't back down from anybody. The Rush and the Rock meet for the first time in over a year, and it's up next on BR Live.
The following is a special presentation of the National Lacrosse League.
Week 14 in the National Lacrosse League arrives in Saskatoon as West meets North, the Saskatchewan Rush hosting the Toronto Rock for the first time in quite a while. Good evening and thank you for joining us. My name is Ryan Flaherty. As always with me, Jake Elliott. And Jake, a matchup we don't see very often, but two teams with 6 wins apiece setting up a pretty good showdown here tonight.
Yeah, it should be a fabulous one here from Saskatoon tonight. You're right, they haven't met since 2018. Let's not forget these two teams met in the 2015 NLL Cup as well. And you look at the record, Saskatchewan 5-0 on the road so far this year, but just 1-2 on their home floor. They want to get some wins here for their fans. And Toronto, well, they're coming off a tough loss to Halifax just a week ago as they look to get back on the winning track as well.
And it is a tight divisional race for Toronto. That's important for them. The Rush, meanwhile, currently leading the West by 2 games, so an important game for them as well to try to add to that lead. And the Rush are on a 3-game winning streak, looking for 4 here tonight. And a big part of that is the offense, which has started to come alive. 31 goals the last 2 games, and Ryan Keenan has been a big part of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Keenan with a hat trick along with 2 other Rush players, and that's the first time that's happened in a long, long time for the Rush offense. So they're starting to click, and let's also not forget here, Ryan Flaherty, Alberta Cup matchup tonight as well between the Rock and the Rush.
Yeah, you got that right. 2nd straight one for the Rush, and of course their offense has started to click, but defensively, they've still been putting together some great games, and one guy who's starting to emerge. Week 14 in the National Lacrosse League arrives in Saskatoon as West meets North, the Saskatchewan Rush hosting the Toronto Rock for the first time in quite a while. Good evening and thank you for joining us. My name is Ryan Flaherty. As always with me, Jake Elliott. And Jake, a matchup we don't see very often, but 2 teams with 6 wins apiece setting up a pretty good showdown here tonight.
Yeah, it should be a fabulous one here from Saskatoon tonight. You're right, they haven't met since 2018. Let's not forget these two teams met in the 2015 NLL Cup as well. And you look at the record, Saskatchewan 5-0 on the road so far this year, but just 1-2 on their home floor. They want to get some wins here for their fans. And Toronto, well, they're coming off a tough loss to Halifax just a week ago as they look to get back on the winning track as well.
And it is a tight divisional race for Toronto. That's important for them. The Rush, meanwhile, currently leading the West by 2 games, so an important game for them as well to try to add to that lead. And the Rush are on a 3-game winning streak, looking for 4 here tonight. And a big part of that is the offense, which has started to come alive. 31 goals the last 2 games, and Ryan Keenan has been a big part of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Keenan with a hat trick along with 2 other Rush players, and that's the first time that's happened in a long, long time for the Rush offense. So they're starting to click, and let's also not forget here, Ryan Flaherty, Alberta Cup matchup tonight as well between the Rock and the Rush.
Yeah, you got that right. 2nd straight one for the Rush, and of course their offense has started to click, but defensively, they've still been putting together some great games, and one guy who's starting to emerge as a really big weapon on that defense, the hammer, you call him, Mike Messenger.
Yeah, that's what he usually does, is deliver those big hits, and he delivered a big hit in the form of a goal there in Halifax a couple of weeks ago, getting the overtime winner. But Mike Messenger, so dangerous in transition, but he gets it done on the defensive end as well, and he's a guy, when you come down the floor as an offensive player, you don't like seeing number 8 matching up against you because he wants to hurt you.
On the side of the Rock, they are a banged-up team. They've been dealing with a long list of injuries this season, especially up front, and Dan Dawson, another one added to the list here tonight. So Rob Hellier is going to have to shoulder a lot of the burden up front.
Yeah, Robbie Hellier on pace, former 50-goal man in this league. He's on pace for 58, 59 goals so far this year. and he's going to have to be big for Toronto tonight. You mentioned no Dan Dawson. Very unfortunate. I always like to call games that involve Dan Dawson, and on the cusp of a real couple of big milestones in the league as well. So we'll miss the dangerous one here tonight, but Rob Hellier, always a fun player to watch. Maybe the quickest first step in the league.
And a guy who the Rock will be hoping can chip in offensively, but also does a great job in the back end, is their captain, the youngest captain in the National Lacrosse League, Challen Rogers.
Yeah, product from my hometown in Coquitlam, British Columbia. I've watched this kid grow up and become a man, and now the captain of the Toronto Rock. And when the Rock are healthy, Challen Rogers is playing out of the back end. But tonight he'll play up front. He'll be on the point of the power play as well. One of the most dynamic players in the league. He can get it done anywhere on the turf.
We got a great goaltending matchup as well tonight. More Orangeville all the time. It's been all that way seemingly all season here at SaskTel Center. A couple of Orangeville natives going head-to-head. Evan Kirk and Nick Rose, who's having another tremendous year for the Rock.
Just a goalie factory coming out of there for the Northmen. You look around the league, Dylan Ward, Nick Rose, Evan Kirk, Brandon Millen, Rylan Hartley. The list goes on. Orangeville knows how to produce top-flight goaltenders, and we got a couple here tonight in Evan Kirk and Nick Rose. Both under 10 goals against, both over that 800 save percentage.
And goaltending-wise, there's a special message for the Rush as well before tonight's game. The goaltender of the hour, not necessarily in lacrosse, but David Ayers has been everywhere, and he had a special message for the Rush.
Good luck versus the Rock. I know you guys have one of the best goalies in the league, but Keenan has my number if you're ever in a pinch.
So great stuff to see that from David Ayers, and he will apparently be in the building next week when the Rush take on the Vancouver Warriors. But lots of energy in the building tonight. A big showdown. Two teams looking for division crowns, and who knows, maybe a potential playoff preview. You never know.
Yeah, absolutely. Somebody's going to get their 7th win here on the season. Let's see. Rock and Rush are coming right up.
It is coming right up in just a couple of minutes. We are excited to bring it to you. We're glad you could be with us for this, so stick around. It's going to be a great one from Saskatoon between Saskatchewan and Toronto. Stick around. The NLL on BR Live is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com to see how much you could save. And by Alterna Bank, Canada's end-to-end digital bank. Alterna puts the good in banking. Visit alternabank.ca to learn more. Tonight's game is part of the Alterna Cup, our season-long competition between the NLL's Canadian franchises. Let's take a look at the standings and see where these two teams line up. And now for tonight's inactive report, brought to you by BetMGM. Here are your scratches for the Toronto Rock. Jamison Dilks, younger brother of the Rush defender Ryan Dilks, not playing tonight. Alec Tillett also sitting this one out. And for the Rush, the scratches, Austin Murphy, who had his first career goal last week, and Jordy Jones-Smith. Those are your scratches, courtesy BetMGM.
Ryan Flaherty, the two teams are at center and set to go. 6-3 Rock, 6-2 Rush. Blow the whistle, let's play some lacrosse.
You heard the man, we are underway. Glad you could join us on a Saturday night in Saskatoon as the Saskatchewan Rush take on the Toronto Rock. Zach Mans with the ball, first possession going to Toronto. Let's read Reinhold over to Rob Hellier, the league goal-scoring leader. He'll be leaned on heavily tonight. That long shot stopped by Evan Kirk. Loose ball rolls through the crease. Kyle Rubish battling with Reinhold to pick it up and get some help. Holden Garland on the ball for Saskatchewan, and they will go to work on offense for the first time as Chris Corbeil almost taken down by the turf monster and now has the ball knocked loose by Brad Cree.
A bit of a ragged start here for Saskatchewan, trying to get the ball out of their own end. I'm just happy to see that red head and gold shaft of Chris Corbeil, whose luggage was a little late arriving to Saskatoon this weekend.
Here just in time, and the captain has his gear ready to go as Mans getting bodied to the turf by Dilks, but gets the ball across for Challen Rogers, looking for the pass to Craig, but over his head, Mans comes in. Still 10 on the shot clock here. Behind the goal they go. Rock out front. Can't connect on that pass. Hellier takes it off the boards. Shot clock winding down. Does he have one in him here? There's the shot from a tough angle, and Kirk kicks it out.
You saw Ryan Dilks matched up against Zach Mans there. Of course, Ryan Dilks leading the National Lacrosse League in caused turnovers. Brad Cree for the Toronto Rock right behind him.
That'll be fascinating to watch throughout this one here tonight. A couple of top-notch defenders. Church for Matthews, now back for Robert Church. Matthews lines up, fires, and Nick Rose makes his first save of the game. And Matthews gets a stick in that way of that outlet pass. Rock having a hard time finding the ball. They finally do, though. And that pass ends up bouncing into the Rush bench, so a bit of a disjointed breakout that time for Toronto, and Saskatchewan will take over.
But Saskatchewan lucky to knock that pass down, and this is what Toronto is going to try and do here tonight with limited offensive players. They are going to try and run Saskatchewan all night, and that's something the Rush offensive players are going to have to be aware of.
Matthews, little stutter step, now looking down low for Dinsdale. Pass knocked down. Marty Dinsdale back in the lineup, and a proud papa as well.
Yes, congratulations to the Dinsdale clan, new father for Marty.
That's why he was out last week. And now back up front for the Rush here in week 14. Dan Craig now with it, and across for Rob Hellyer. Hellyer hasn't played in this building in several years.
Ooh,
and there's a huge
hammer!
Mike Messenger with the demolition there. Welcome to the National Lacrosse League, Aaron Forster. His NLL debut, he's going to remember that. He'll have a physical reminder more than likely.
Oh, watch it again from Mike the Hammer Messenger, and that's what he does so very well. Maybe the best in the game at that off-ball slide and then cleaning your clock.
That was a serious hit, and that shot stopped by Nick Rose as Connor Robinson made a bid.
Now look for Connor Robinson to be a little more aggressive here tonight. I know he's a guy on that left side that the Rush offensive coaches want to get going. So look for him to be aggressive on the offensive end.
As Rogers backs it up for Reed Reinholt. Now into the middle they go. Rock trying to find an opening and perhaps the game's opening goal. It's Hellyer at the top being watched by Rubish. Swings low. Now the low shot gets stopped by Kirk.
Good signs here early for the Rush defense. I'm watching them work through those pick and rolls. And obviously the communication so important on those, and it looks good and active here so far early in this one.
Church can't handle that pass, but Schattler scoops the ball up in the corner. Still 15 to shoot. Schattler takes it, and Rose with the save. Now they got a push on Damon Edwards, so the Rush are going to get a fresh possession here and a brand new shot clock to work with.
Keenan coming off that hat trick, looking for more to start this one.
McIntosh. Cross for Ryan Keenan. Brad Cree on him, now works his way up to the top. Fires from long range, and Nick Rose ready for that shot. Now quickly the Rock in transition, trying to find an opening. Oh boy, that pass was just behind Scott Dominy, or he would have had a great opportunity.
Well, there you go. That was almost a 2-on-0 there for Toronto. Clearly the message here from Matt Sawyer is get up the floor for that Rock defense.
As Forster with it now, mentioned him making his NLL debut here tonight in Saskatoon with the injury to Dan Dawson. It is a relatively minor lower body injury. Dan was telling us earlier today he expects to be back in the lineup in a week or two.
Yeah, incredible for Dan Dawson. You think 19 years, he's been exceptionally healthy through the majority of his career. Only has missed a couple of games in his illustrious career. So unfortunately, no dangerous Dan Dawson here tonight. He's on the cusp of a couple of huge milestones in the NLL.
Dinsdale across for Mark Matthews. 9 points last week against Philadelphia. That shot is blocked in front by Jay, and now Matthews with it again. Long shot right into the chest of Nick Rose.
Both goaltenders sharp to start this one as well. Nick Rose, very much an angles goaltender, relies on his good positioning in between those pipes.
This past the 5-minute mark of the first, still waiting for the game's first goal. Both teams trying to feel each other out here. It's been a while since they've seen each other. February 1st last season as that shot rings right off the pipe from Hellyer.
Maybe numbers here.
Jeremy Thompson leading the Rush up the floor. 4 players all the way. Justin Robinson shoots, and Nick Rose patiently stayed with him and didn't bite on those fakes.
Good patience there from the rookie Justin Robinson, trying to outweight Nick Rose and go up and over, but a better stop from 66.
David Brock will lay it off here for Forster, fresh off the bench. The Rock first round draft pick, in last year's draft.
They were happy to get him.
Reed Reinholt now. Down into the corner. Now back to Rogers at the top. Shoots right on, and Kirk is ready for that. No surprise here so far. The goals are going to be hard to come by. These are two of the top defensive teams in the NLL.
And two of the best goaltenders as well. We mentioned in the opening, both under 10 goals against, both over 800 save percentages for Rose and Kirk.
Great pace to start this, however, as Keenan tries to find Schattler on the pick and roll, but the pass just a little too high. Hellier back on the floor for Toronto. He will be clearly the focal point of the Rush defense. They try to force the rest of the Rock offensive players to step up here this evening. Powless across for Hellier. Takes the shot. Kirk gets a leg on it. The Rock will get a new 30.
I might have caught a little pipe as well, but definitely off the leg pad of Kirk, who did just enough to keep that one out of the goal.
Dan Craig trying to get around Rubish, who takes the ball right away from number 25 and then scoops it up for good measure.
I don't know why I'm surprised every time I see him do it. It is absolutely textbook the way he sets guys up to put that stick in his offhand so he can clamp down on it and strip the ball.
And the Rush open the scoring. Matthews back up for Robinson, who does well to hang on to the ball, and now gets it back to Matthews. Looking for his spot. Mark Matthews spins off a check. The pass across is cut off there well by Mitchell Gustafson. Now a loose ball battle on the turf. And we'll have a stoppage in play. That will take us to our first timeout as we are exactly halfway through the opening quarter. No score to report so far between the Rock and the Rush. You're watching the National Lacrosse League here from Saskatoon on BR Live. Looking for their first ever win here in Saskatoon, Jake, as they've gone 0 for 2 in their previous two visits here since the Rush arrived in the Bridge City.
Yeah, 13 and 11 are the Rush all-time head-to-head. Back in 2015 in that NLL Cup matchup, it was a two-game sweep for Saskatchewan in that championship final. So the Rush have had the Rock's number here in Saskatoon, but halfway exactly through this opening quarter, and shot 6-5 for the home team, but neither team has been able to get one into the back of the goal.
Does feel like a bit of a feeling out process between these two teams so far.
I do want to get a quick update on that out-of-town scoreboard. We got a full slate of games. Last night, New England 12-8 over the Riptide. Riptide back in action tonight. 11-6 Rochester in the lead there, and 10-5 is your score in Buffalo on Tucker out lymphoma night.
Big save by Kirk, that time off of Zach Mans, the rookie who's done well for himself this season so far. Already 19 points for the former Victoria Shamrock.
And we got 3 more games coming up here as we will keep you apprised as the evening moves along. Ryan Flaherty.
Big battle in the corner, and the Rush come away with the ball. Jeff Cornwall sprinting down the floor, has Dilks in the middle, fires and Groves comes up with a big stop. Matthews, though, scoops the ball, and now there'll be a penalty call coming against the Rock.
And it could be 4 here, Flats, as that went right across the name bar of Mark Matthews.
And he is feeling it, trying to roll his arm around a little bit, get the numbness out.
Does not feel good.
Extra attacker on as Kirk has gone to the bench. Church across for Keenan, fires right off the pipe.
Look
and
out.
that rings all the way back down into the other end of the floor.
So they'll get a reset on the 30 here, a chance to get this ball up the floor as Dinsdale will pick it up. 8-second count on here, but the delayed call still on for the Rush as they got the empty net 6-on-5.
No hurry for the Rush, lots of time to work with here. Church setting things up. Keenan winding up, leaves it for Church instead, down low, looking for Schattler. He's well covered by Jubenville, and now Keenan has it. Still 10 on the shot clock. Behind the net, they go to McIntosh out top to Church, who fires the net. Is stopped by Nick Rose. They finally get the whistle, and we'll have the penalty. And yeah, we'll see if it's 2 or 4 for Sheldon Burns, who's headed to the box.
We can get the referee crew in here momentarily, so let's get the call here on Wired Up.
It is just the 2 minutes, and yes, our officials tonight are crew chief Ryan Fowler, assistant referees Ryan Dutkus and Brent Colomb, and the shot clock operator, the hometown hero, Ian Wilson.
Number 5 ranked power play unit, 48.2% for the Rush, going up against the number 3 ranked penalty kill, 61.5 for the Rock penalty killers.
Chance to open the scoring. Matthews just wide, and the ball rebounds all the way up into the crowd, so it'll be a Rock possession here.
And I wanted to talk about that last 6-on-5 as the Rush were whipping that ball around, and really that's the way you got to beat Nick Rose in this Rock defense, is you got to get Nick Rose moving around on his goal line, find and try and get him off his angles, get him lost on that goal line a little bit, and find some open net, because when he has a chance to set up, you just don't see a lot of black netting in behind him.
Yeah, he is a big load in that net at first sir. Blocks a lot of it. Mans now short-handed. Shot clock almost down to 0, and he'll take that shot wide of the goal. It'll be Rush ball here. Still 1 minute and 19 seconds in the man advantage.
And you look at the other side of the ledger here on the special teams. The Rush with the worst penalty kill in the league, but the Rock with the worst power play in the league. So a little anomaly there in the special teams.
Church back from Matthews. It drops the pass and has to hustle back to avoid the over and back. Easily does that. Still plenty of time on the shot clock. Keenan takes the pass, now shoots, and that's a goal. Behind the line. That's a goal. Keenan stays hot. He opens the scoring. 1-0 Rush.
And good call from the official in good position here. This thing never touches the netting flats, but it does go off the crossbar, down across the goal line, then comes back outside the net. You're going to see it on the replay here. That's the second time Keenan's looked high on Rose. This time, just a millimeter enough to get that one to go off the bottom of the bar and across the goal line. This one will count. Power play goal for Ryan Keenan and the Rush.
Keenan coming off that hat trick last week against Philadelphia. We do have a challenge flag. Good air on that challenge flag.
Good arm there, Matty Sawyer.
Absolutely, Matt Sawyer getting it all halfway across the turf. So they will take another look at this.
As will we.
Sorry? Sorry. Crossbar. Okay, I'll go look. Huh?
Conversation there with Ryan Fowler as he will now head over to the monitor.
Make sure go over. Burns was in the box, right? So you don't have to come back.
And Wilson just making sure that if this goal does not count, that Sheldon Burns' penalty time will go back up on the board, and you will have to come back to the box. So we'll get a good look at it here. Matthews to Keenan as they walk through the replay.
Hey, all right. So let's roll it here. What else we got?
Yeah, referee in great position
overhead.
To see that. So I think the overhead will tell the tale here.
Overhead.
We see here now. Yes, clearly on that look you can see well inside the goal. That one's going to stand.
I was actually a little surprised to see Matt Sawyer throw that challenge. Just 1-0. It's a power play goal. And now you burned a challenge early in this first half. And you're left with nothing for that, which I thought was a pretty clear goal, and the referee in great position to see it as well.
Slow back down.
And I don't think this review is going to take very long.
Slow, okay, forward. Forward. And then the overhead one more time. Slow, slow. Thank you.
There you have it. Fowler will make his official ruling.
Nice job for the boys down in the truck on the replays.
Confirmed, good goal.
There you go.
So the crowd here at Saskatchewan Center gets a second chance to cheer for that Ryan Keenan goal. It comes at the 10-minute and 1-second mark of the first quarter. It took a while to get our first here tonight, but the Rush 5-1 when they score first this season, and they get the first one here this evening. Messenger on the draw against Gustafson. They go shoulder to shoulder. Ryan Dilks coming over trying to retrieve the ball, and the Rush get the face-off win.
Got to get a quick shout out into Papa Dilks, of course, Ryan Flaherty. No Jamie Dilks tonight, but I know the Dilks family tuned in here tonight.
Absolutely. As Ryan Dilks, we talked about it, leading the league in caused turnovers this season. Coming back after a year off.
Might be leading the league in mustaches as well.
He's right up there for sure. McIntosh down to Dinsdale, who might lead the league in beards. And McIntosh, they lead both of those guys. And Matthews can't find that pass as the Rock had the middle clogged up there and the ball couldn't get through. So now down by 1, Toronto looking to find an equalizer as Hellier retreats to that far side. Brings it across the top for Reinhold. Thompson pushing him to the outside. Now into the corner. Reinhold back for Craig, who takes that shot, but it's deflected before it reaches the goal. Bouncing around, and finally Kyle Rubisch comes up with it. And the Rush go back to work on offense.
I think he had some weird spin on it there. Kirk didn't even want to play it because he wasn't sure what direction it was going to spin in. English, they call that.
Little bit of English. Ryan Keenan now. No room to go down low, so back up top for Church. He's closely watched, gets the shot away, it skips in on Rose, who gathers it in. Good defensive battle here early on between two very solid defensive teams. Rob Hellier now directing traffic. Down for Forster. What a luxury to have a guy like Hellier on your side when you're playing your first game in the league. Is Keenan staying out there for this defensive set. He knocks Hellier to the turf. Craig trying to work around Matt Hossett.
Nothing there.
Can't do it. And the shot clock expires. Solid defense by Saskatchewan. That will take us timeout. 3 minutes to go here in the first quarter. Ryan Keenan has the only goal. Came on the power play. And Mike Messenger delivering the heavy hit on Aaron Forster. You're watching the National Lacrosse League here from Saskatoon on BR Live.
Welcome back inside SaskTel Center here, the National Lacrosse League on BR Live. Next weekend, the National Lacrosse League Game of the Week moves to New York as John Rannigan and the Riptide welcome Lyle Thompson and the Swarm to Nassau County Coliseum. Catch all the action on BR Live, Twitter, Facebook, all starting at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. 3 minutes to go here in quarter number one. Rush lead at 1-0. Let's go down to the floor and Daniela Ponticelli.
Thanks, Jake. It's been a long time since we've seen the Rock in Rush Nation, and that last time being a chippy back-to-back, and we're already seeing shades of that right now as Rob Hellier goes to the bench, frustrated before that last TV timeout. The play is now underway, and Rush ball, so we are going to let this play out here, but as mentioned, the emotions are high, things are moving very quickly, and it looks like the Rock have figured out that really strong Rush offense that was been off to some quick starts in the last couple games. Guys?
Thanks, Daniela, and yes, this is going to be a tall task for the Rush against a stiff Rock defense here tonight. Still looking for our first even strength goal of the game. There's a flip pass for Schattler, but he can't bring it in. He was blanketed that time by Brad Cree, and now quickly the Rock up the floor, trying to make a move in transition, but Brock with the shot, it bounces out of play, and the Rush will take over. Oh no, it went off the player, I guess.
And just to go back to that 5-on-5, I know Derek Keenan and the staff very happy last week, 12 5-on-5 goals against the Philadelphia Winds.
So the Rock stay with the ball as it was off of Kirk. Chance here for an equalizer, we'll see, but the Rush are forcing them outside, finally getting inside. There's Craig, and Kirk comes up with a really solid stop on Dan Craig.
Yeah, that's his best of the game, as Dan Craig now becomes the Rock's second leading scorer without Dan Dawson in the lineup. So they're going to need production out of him and others here tonight on offense for Toronto.
No Tom Schreiber, no Adam Jones, no Dan Dawson, no Latrell Harris. The Rock have just, it's really impressive when you think about it that they're 6-3 considering the amount of injuries to key players they've had, as Robinson's shot is deflected and Toronto regains possession.
And again, I've seen a couple of times where Toronto has started to leak off the top, especially the defender where his check is the one shooting. He's almost just running by the shooter and taking off up the floor, gambling, if you will.
Reinhold can't find a lane, backs it off. Hellier now, long shot. Kirk makes a solid save. That was a serious heat shot from Rob Hellier. He can do it from everywhere on the floor.
Speaking of gambling, if you're going to do so, bet MGM, please.
Rock still with it here. 15 on the shot clock. Johnny Powless into the corner for Reinhold. Ball cross for Craig, but he misses the net. Ball bounds up high and taken in by the Rush. Over for Jeff Cornwall. Too many defenders back, so he'll lay it off for Matthews, who fires, and Rose trickles through, but ends up staying out of the net. Close call there.
Yeah, and I don't mind that shot there from Matthews. I don't think you want to do that every time you're coming down on a kind of an unsettled situation. But try and catch the goaltender off guard. Fire a quick shot early in the shot clock, never a bad idea.
Final 30 seconds of the opening quarter, about a 2-second differential of game clock and shot clock. Rose staying in the net. Reinhold Lays it off, looking for Powless. Now Rogers for Hellier. Takes that. Kirk with the stop. Just 2 left on the clock. No time here for the Rush to take it up the floor, and that will do it. A fast-paced opening quarter, but just 1 goal on the board, and it belongs to the Saskatchewan Rush.
It does indeed. Shots on goal, 12-10. Rush, they lead it by 1. We're back with second quarter action here. The National Lacrosse League on BR Live.
Second quarter here at SaskTel Center in Saskatoon. You're watching the National Lacrosse League on BR Live. I'm Ryan Flaherty alongside Jake Elliott. Glad you could be with us tonight. And it's a defensive battle through 15 minutes of play. Just 1 goal. It belongs to the Rush. It came on the power play from Ryan Keenan.
It sure did. Defensive battle here. Not so much around the National Lacrosse League tonight. We have the score from last night. New England 12-8 over the Riptide. The Riptide now trailing Rochester 13-7. And Halifax creeping back into the game here. It was once 8-2, now 10-7. Buffalo leading as they got about 10 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Coming up later tonight, Philadelphia at Colorado, San Diego at Calgary, and we'll round out the evening with the Swarm at the Warriors.
As the Rush gain possession off the draw to start the second quarter, Jeremy Thompson on that draw, and he is approaching a big milestone. This needs 4 face-off wins tonight to move into 4th place all time.
Blow the whistle, let's play some lacrosse.
There you go. Church for McIntosh. Low shot wide. Bounces up high. Connor Robinson finds it. Still 8 on the shot clock. Half of the Rush offense were halfway off the floor, though, and Robinson ran out of options there.
Yeah, I mean, if nothing else, if you're Robinson there, test the goaltender. Make him make a stop in that situation. Give yourself a chance to get a possession back.
So Powless takes it for Toronto. Swings it into the corner. Now back up top for Rogers. And Hellier. 2 Rush players quickly out on him, and the shot deflected by Holden Garland. The Rocks stay with it. 10 to shoot, dunk try, and a great stop by Kirk.
Really good
Got
stop.
the left arm out, made the save. Justin Robinson lays it off for Jeremy Thompson, but Toronto has numbers back, so Saskatchewan will slow things down.
Make it 10-8 now as the T-Birds just got one on the power play.
Dinsdale working one-on-one. Ball knocked free by Brad Cree, one of the top cause turnover men in the league. Gets it up the floor for Dominy. Scott Dominy shoots, and Kirk steps out to make the save. Whoa, almost a mishap there, but Matthews gathers it in, and now Saskatchewan moves it back up. Hossack quickly up for Mike Messenger, who's going to stay out for this possession, or at least for the first few seconds. And yeah, he will remain on the floor. There's a long shot from Church. Misses the goal. Dinsdale trying to track down the ricochet. It's brought in by Burns.
And you see Churchy and Benny just a little bit off on their shot right now, and that's because Nick Rowe's so good on his angles. You don't see a lot of net, so you really try and pick your spot. They're just a touch off.
Reinhold drops that pass, and Messenger picks it up cleanly off the turf. Messenger with that huge goal in Halifax 2 weeks ago thinks about the one-hander, leaves it for Church instead. Quick step, they score! Shetler makes it 2-0 Rush.
That's all Mike Messenger right there, drawing the traffic. Then he finds the trailer, Robert Church, who's an offensive player in transition. He's got a prime time shooting lane, great real estate to take a shot. What does he do? He finds the veteran off to the side for the quick stick into the empty goal. And it's 2-0 Saskatchewan as Schaller deposits that one past Nick Rowe.
And we talked in the open about Mike Messenger and his role with this team, and we saw him score that huge goal on the offensive end a couple weeks ago, and now he leads that attack after forcing the turnover. Schaller picks up his 10th goal of the season. Church and Messenger will get assists, and there's a pass picked off. It was telegraphed, and Adam Jay stepped right in front of it.
Real no reason to throw that ball from Thompson. Just a bit of a brain cramp there.
So Toronto trailing by 2. And this is important for Toronto. They can't afford to fall too far behind with all the pieces of their offense that are missing. They're not built right now to score in bunches. They'll have to really clamp down. The goal would come up big as Craig tests Kirk, but Kirk steps out. And here comes Ryan Dilks. Has Garland with him and leaves the ball for Holden Garland. Down the middle, Garland bounces it and just misses. He had some open room. Couldn't hit the target.
I think that one went off either Rose or a Rock player. Matthews pleading his case as well as either that one or it just hooked out of the stick of Garland straight down out of the turf and out of play. Kind of a weird shot there from 70.
Just about 3 minutes gone here in the second. Rush lead at 2-0. Powless with fire, and he scores. The Rocker on the board as Kirk can't get to that one. Johnny Powless gets the first for Toronto.
Yeah, good chance on one end. What happens? You come down to the other end. The prodigy, three-time NLL champion with the Nighthawks, Johnny Powless, on a nice setup there from Reed Reinhold. On a little flip passes. He got around Hossack and Messenger. I wouldn't say slow to close the gap there, but nice little quick release sidearm there from Johnny, and he finds just inside the post on the skip, hip high. That's a tough one for the goaltender. Rock on the board, 2-1.
Goal coming at 3 minutes and 1 second of the second quarter. And it's a one-goal game. Possession awarded to Toronto off the draw. Billy Hostrauser. The Rock deploy a couple of different guys on face-offs. Now Challen Rogers into the middle looking for Hellier, but he's checked on the play by Kyle Rubisch. And here comes Chris Corbeil, breakaway in on Rose, and Rose makes the save.
Oh man, that's a big stop there for Nick Rose. I think it went off his elbow, maybe the shaft of his goal stick as the captain Corbeil streaking to the goal there and testing the Rock goaltender. Watch it again here on the replay.
And Corbeil has had a solid start this year already with 4 goals from the Rush captain. Rush get a new shot clock though, however, and go back to work on offense. Church, long shot, scores! Through a screen, Robert Church makes it 3-1 Rush.
That's what I'm talking about. I think that time Robert Church, not the greatest shooting angle there, but an open look. But what he did, Ryan, and what made him successful is he took just a little bit off his shot and made sure that he hit his spot on the goal. That thing going under the glove, posting in here from bar down. Bobby is watch it. Low and stick side pass. Nick Rose and the Rush have their 2-goal lead back 3-1.
Well, you talk about hitting the net. Chris Corbeil didn't score on that breakaway, but his shot went off Rose and out, so that allowed Saskatchewan to maintain possession.
Yeah.
And right out of the restart, they get the 3rd goal of the night. Toronto wins the draw. Once again, a 2-goal game. Quick response by Church after the goal by Johnny Powless.
And literally Robbie Hellier and Challen Rogers are coming out for every offensive rep here on the right side for the Rock. They are going to play a ton.
As Kirk stops Hellier on that bid. And it's really going to be fun to watch how the Rush defend Rob Hellier tonight.
Got to be a team effort. Not going to do it with just one guy.
Matthews looking for an open man. Now swim move, takes that shot, and it's a stop by the left foot of Nick Rose, so a brand new 30 for the Rush. Ryan Keenan and Marty Dinsdale now down low for McIntosh. Dinsdale setting the pick. It comes over to the right side instead. Now Keenan to Shatler. He scores! Jeff Shatler gets his second of the game. And the Rush have a 4-1 lead.
The veteran Jeff Shatler just keeps on getting it done, doesn't he? Incredible. Off ball. Nice little cut. The gather. Not a great angle. So what does he do? Pump it 5-hole against the goaltender. Through the wickets it goes. 4-1 Saskatchewan.
Really nice pass by Ryan Keenan there as well. Through a couple of sticks. Finds Shatler on the run. Shatler makes no mistake.
But again, you're talking it's going from the left-hander Keenan across the crease. Even though it's a left-hander, Shatler catching the ball. You're making Nick Rose move across that goal line and you open up space.
Scramble off the draw, ball in front of the Rush bench, and it pile up there as it flips high into the air, down into Saskatchewan's end, and actually ends up bouncing over the glass, and both teams appealing for possession, but the Rock are going to win it this time.
Yeah, right call. That's Toronto ball.
Reed Reinhold now winding to the far side, and then back up to the top. Rogers into the corner for Hellier. Corbeil on him. Now it's Reinhold. Mans pass knocked down. Hellier scrambles back to gather it in. Now for Zach Mans. Looking for the return feed, but he's being watched by Rubisch. Ball is loose, just 5 left to shoot. Rock running out of time, and Reinhold squeezed against the boards, and it's a shot clock violation.
Suffocating.
Solid defense by Saskatchewan has been their calling card, and they are looking good here again tonight. It's a 4-1 lead as we go to our first time out here in the second quarter. You're watching the National Lacrosse League on BR Live. Rush lead the Toronto Rock by a 4-1 score, and let's send it back down to floor level where Daniela Ponticelli is standing by with Rock assistant coach Bruce Codd.
Thanks, Ryan. Bruce, the Rush have gotten off to a hot start in a number of their other games. They also racked up 31 goals in their last 2 road games. So coming here, what was the pressure like on the defense, and what is the pressure like now with the score as it is?
I think we had a good start to the game. You know, we kept them 1-0, and it was a power play goal. They've got a little bit of a run here, so now it's going to be our job to kind of slow that down. But we know they're a team that can score in bunches, so we're just going to have to play every shift like it's the last minute of the game, because they are very potent.
Any extra pressure because you're missing some key members of your offense tonight?
No, we can't worry about who's not here. I mean, obviously there's guys we'd like to have in the lineup, but they're not here, so we worry about the guys that are here tonight, and we've done a good job all year long of, kind of next man up mentality, and that's what we have to do again here tonight.
Thanks so much, Coach. Back to you guys.
Thanks a lot, Daniela. Yes, the Rock, we touched on it. The fact that they're 6-3, pretty darn impressive, because they're in a really tough division as well.
Yeah, great coaching staff down there. Matt Sawyer, Blaine Manning, the Prairie Dog, and of course Bruce Codd, former Roughneck coach as well, and one of the best loose ball guys to ever don in the National Lacrosse League. Just an absolute ball hound in that defensive end.
Rush with the ball out of the restart. Matthews behind the goal, and the pass out front looking for McIntosh, but knocked away. Schattler can't scoop it cleanly, and here comes Billy Hostrauser. 3-on-2 perhaps for Toronto if they choose to take it. Edwards will take the shot, but he misses the goal. And the ball rebounds out into the crowd. Rush ball.
That's why you pay attention when you're sitting in row 7 right there.
Watch all of the action from around the National Lacrosse League this season on BR Live. Choose an annual, monthly, or per game pass. For more information, visit NLL.com/BR Live. Dinsdale with the shot. Rose makes the save, and quickly up the floor goes Nick Rose for Scott Dominey. Hossack quickly on him and forces a bad pass. Good hustle out of the back gate that time by Matt Hossack.
And we talked about how Toronto wants to run here, Flats. Even more imperative here in the second and the fourth quarters on that long bench change. Real chance to get your transition game going.
Toronto getting set up on offense, but just 10 left on the shot clock here. Rogers on a back down Cornwall, now skips it across, shot from Craig, misses the target, and picked cleanly by Ryan Dilks, who sprints the other way. Dilks surveying his options, finds McIntosh, and a great stop by Rose as McIntosh tried to change the angle on that shot.
Oh, he had him beat, just hit the pipe. Good luck there for Benny Mack, and Rose down early. There was room.
Now McIntosh with it again, finds room in the middle, and this time Rose steps out and makes the stop.
McIntosh took a solid shot after taking that shot right there from the Rock defense. 13-8 now, Buffalo over Halifax with 3 to play from Quebec.
And that's a key score for Rock fans because they trail Halifax by a game for the North Division lead. Of course, they're tied with Buffalo as well, so that is quite the 3-horse race in that North Division. Will be fun to watch down the second half of the season. As the Rush with another smothering defensive set and take over here. Church takes that ball, now winds his way across the floor. Getting room cleared, and Matthews takes that shot from distance, and Nick Rose comes up with the stop.
13-10 Nighthawks lead the Riptide.
Numbers for Toronto, they score, and that's a solid goal in transition. Taylor Stewart has his first of the season and first with the Rock.
Yeah, T. Stew, the former Colorado Mammoth, picked up in a trade a couple of weeks ago by Jamie Dowek, and paying dividends there as he finds the back of the goal in transition. Nice little snipe on the run here from number 11 as he had a look, nobody open, take the shot, short side top corner, beauty, 4-2.
That's the 7th assist for Nick Rose this season as well, as he got that going quickly up the floor. And Stewart has his first goal and point of the season, as the Rock gave up a second-round pick for Taylor Stewart.
It just kind of fell out of favor with Pat Coyle in Denver. I'm not really sure what happened. A mainstay there for a number of years, but became available in Toronto quick to snap him up.
And the Rock saying they were short on left-handed defensemen as well, and that's a big reason they targeted Taylor Stewart as that try from Dominey
Man, that
doesn't
kick can
find
run.
the net.
He is quick.
4 goals already this year for Scott Dominey. 2-game winners. As Church takes that feed. Down to Schattler in the corner, fakes the shot. Back up for Church. Now McIntosh. Going one-on-one with Hostrauser. Now trying to feed it to Church, but takes a rough ride from Billy Hostrauser. He's not the first to be victimized that way. Now Hellier off the bench, fires, and Kirk comes across with a big stop. Now Hellier with it once again, comes out of the corner. Trying to find an opening. Now gets it, swims right to the goal, and Kirk steps up. And a little pat on the chest there as they collided, but
he's going to call Hellier here
for the ball.
Hellier is going to get called for contact on the goaltender coming into the crease, and I don't know, I think this is a marginal call at best. I mean, that went almost through the wickets. That's not the penalty there. And maybe let that run one more time here, guys, and you'll see Hellier come back through the crease and makes contact. You know, honestly, I don't know what he's supposed to do there. I think Kirk kind of instigates that contact, to be quite frank with you. But Hellier's going to go to the box. The Rush are going to go to the man advantage with a 2-goal lead here as Hellier looks on.
Saskatchewan scoring on their first power play tonight. That opened the scoring this evening is Ryan Keenan had the goal. And now a 4-2 lead for Saskatchewan as they look to make it 2 for 2. Keenan for Church. Fumbles that pass. It's bouncing around, and Nick Rose will get his stick on the ball. So Toronto with a chance to kill some time here.
And not the sharpest opening set there on the man advantage.
Forster handling it now. Back for Dan Craig as they just swing it around the outside. Trying to drain the penalty clock. Mans. No lane. Rubish forcing him up high. Long shot from Mans. Nowhere near the net. But job done by the Rock. They kill 30 seconds off the penalty.
And probably a little less to worry about with Hellier in the penalty box while the Rock short-handed here. He's a guy that can break down 2 guys at once. Very similar to Curtis Dixon. Just a nightmare one-on-one matchup.
Matthews quarterbacking the power play. Fires, and Rose with the save. Rebound to Church behind the back, and Rose with another good stop on Robert Church. Loose ball, and Church gets a stick to it and sweeps it back.
And that's the kind of play right there, Flats, that Derek Keenan was talking about early in the year, about working hard and doing the little things, the dirty work. Robert Church laying on his back, freeing up another 30 seconds.
Now Church with the ball for Matthews. Into the corner, Schattler. Stutter step, can't get around Hostrauser. Now across, but too high for McIntosh. Takes a friendly bounce from Matthews. McIntosh across, they score! No, they wave it off. Looked like a man in the crease, perhaps. It looked like everyone in the building thought we had a goal, and now for stoppage in play, they might take another look at this.
I think we're going to a TV timeout, but let's watch the replay before we do. Church getting checked from behind. He's clearly in the crease, but he's saying
no, it does not.
No, I'm asking.
Oh, sorry, yes. It has to be a legitimate penalty, arm up for the goal to count. He just gets pushed out, worked, falls in, doesn't get out.
I wouldn't call it a penalty. I thought if he was forced in, though,
no. So
that's not
the rule is I have to have an arm up on the play for a penalty.
No, that's not a penalty.
So non-shooter fails to exit.
Great conversation there. Gotta love the wired up.
Love it. Absolutely love it.
We'll take a break. You're watching the National Lacrosse League on BR Live. Back inside SaskTel Center as the Rush had a close call there, and let's send it down to floor level for Daniela Ponticelli. What do you got for us?
Well, it was all quiet between the benches here, Ryan, but it looks like things are going to be moving forward. Everything's resetting on the field. I just want to say, give a shout out to Jeff Schattler's celebration on that last goal he scored. He was showing the young kids how to celebrate goals today. It is Lacrosse Day in Saskatchewan, so a well-educated crowd here in Rush Nation as well, as we got the next generation of future lacrosse stars all in the crowd tonight. Guys?
Thanks, Daniela. And yes, it is Lax Day in Saskatchewan here tonight, so lots of minor lacrosse players in the house, and we'll have some on the turf during halftime. Great opportunity for those kids to see what the pros are all about.
Essentially, the chance here for Toronto to expire the rest of the penalty time here as out comes Robbie Hellier. Back to 5-on-5 we go as the shot clock expires on Toronto. Fans, if you love the NLL, and I know you do, you'll love all the highlights on our social channels. Get the best goals, saves, action during all the games and during the week on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and of course, NLL.com.
As the Rock forced the turnover, and Cree takes it up the floor now, leaves it for Edwards, backs his man in and fires right on, and Kirk with the save. Cree quickly over to the far boards to pick up the ball, but he is closed off immediately, and the Rush take over.
All right, Keenan looks like he's got a little giddy up in his step here tonight, playing a couple of defensive shifts as well.
Yeah, in the last couple of games, Ryan Keenan has really become an even bigger part of this offense. You can see the confidence just growing. He's looked good here tonight as well. Nearly had his second moments ago, and Schattler ladles it off for Church, and he finds the net. It gets through Rose, and that one will count. It's 5-2 Rush.
Yeah, that's not coming back off the board there for Bardem, Bobby, but that's one that Nick Rose should probably handle as it comes late in the shot clock and kind of skips past him here. No real other opportunity for Robert Church but to shoot this ball. But the key again here, Ryan, hit the net, force the goaltender to make a stop. That time Nick Rose not able to do it, as Schattler will pick up another assist on the goal from Robert Church.
That came from a long way out from Robert Church, his second of the night, making it 5-2. And of course that comes just after a potential goal was waved off, and we had to go to break, but that was some great audio that we got from the crew chief Ryan Fowler and the Rush captain Chris Corbeil discussing why that goal was not allowed.
Honestly, it is one of the best things in professional sports, the referees being wired up here in the NLL. I love it.
Rush back with ball here, looking to add to their lead as we tick down to 3 minutes remaining in the opening half. 4 goals in the second quarter by Saskatchewan. Looking for more. Dinsdale, though, as we had a off-ball push, and back come the Rock. Is Dominy streaking down the floor, and Kirk comes out and kicks that ball into the corner. What a stop.
Yeah, and you want to talk about quality stops and great saves and prolific stops. That right there from Evan Kirk, that's about as timely as you can get. Your team just got a goal. You got your lead up to 3. Next thing you know, that team's getting a breakaway, and there's the goaltender coming up with a big save on a breakaway.
And now the offense back to work. Keenan recovers, flings it down for Connor Robinson. Up to the top, now a low shot. Rose makes the save. Connor Robinson, talking to him earlier this week. We mentioned he got a goal last week. He said he felt like a weight was lifted off his shoulders. It was a big goal for him and his confidence as Hellier fires, and Kirk says no.
Emphatic stop there from Make Him Work.
So far, Hellier held off the score sheet.
2 finals now. Flats, that one in Rochester got very tight. 13-12 the final. Nighthawks over the Riptide as the expansion cousins get after it tonight.
There's a goal by Marty Dinsdale. What a diving goal as the proud Papa makes it 6-2 Rush.
I can guarantee who that one will be for here tonight, as the brand new father, Marty Dinsdale, gets one past Nick Rose to make it 6-2. A nice little one-on-one post-up, the inside spin, and then the reach, tuck it far side, top corner, beauty from 32.
Looks like Dinsdale's been watching Mike Messenger tape. Very reminiscent of Messenger's overtime winner in Halifax a couple years ago. The crease dive by Marty Dinsdale.
Just a couple of weeks ago, Ryan, not a couple of years ago.
Did I say years? Boy, oh boy. This game goes by so fast sometimes, it feels
sure
like
does.
it.
13-8 your final in Buffalo as well. Excuse me, 13-9 over Halifax, as you knew the Bandits weren't losing on Tucker out lymphoma night.
Well, the Bandits, for the moment, move into a tie for first in the north, pardon me. That shot stopped by Kirk. Coming up on NLL at the half, huddle up with Devin Caney and Mark Matthews. Highlights and analysis of the first half and a look around the league, all coming up at the half. Looking forward to that feature with the mailman, who has the ball on his stick. Juggles it there, though, and being pestered as he's planted into the wall by Edwards. The Rock come up with it. Just over a minute to go here in the half.
Assisting on 8 out of the 15 goals in Philadelphia a week ago for the mailman.
Now up to 42 points on the year for number 42. Entering this game, Reinhold trying to come down low. Dilks not having any of that. Messenger knocks the ball loose and then knocks Zach Mans to the turf. Good job by Mans to keep the ball and get up and get a shot, but he missed the net.
How strong is that guy?
Shatler waiting as his offensive mates complete the change.
I might just send you down to the turf, Ryan. Just let Mike Messenger hit you so you can answer my question.
McIntosh fires wide. Still 8 on the shot clock, but the Rush can't get the ball. Shatler's in the corner. Cree, Ostrauser, Reinhold. Pardon me, that's Rogers in there as well.
I think Rock are going to get a timeout here. No, they're going to go on the fly.
They're just going to keep it going here, under 10 seconds on the clock. Rose is halfway up the floor. Quickly up for Rogers. Now Hellier takes the long shot, misses the net, and that will do it for the opening half as the Rush, after a slow start, put up 5 in the second quarter, and they lead it 6-2 through 30 minutes.
26-21, your shots on goal. Rush lead it by 4, 6-2, as the two teams will head for the break here at SaskTel. And like you said, a bit of a slow start, defensive battle, both goaltenders sharp, but the Rush offense started to wake up a little bit. They got that power play goal, they got rolling, and Evan Kirk looks to be in the zone here tonight as well.
Couple of goals for Toronto, as they are within striking distance at the half, and now looking like we're going to take a quick break, or are we?
Oh, let's go down to the turf.
I think we're going to send it down to the turf here in just a moment, as Daniela Ponticelli is standing by with the Rock captain, Challen Rogers.
Thanks, Ryan. Challen, I know this isn't the start that you wanted to come out here. The Rock, well aware that the Rush have had some hot starts. So are you feeling confident about evening up, or obviously beating that score in the second half?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we're super confident in our group, and you know, although our chances haven't been going in, we're getting them, and we just got to bear down and capitalize.
Now, of course, you're also missing those key members of your offense. Do you feel like the team is feeling that, or not so much? You're a defensive coach saying it's not about the guys who aren't here, it's about the guys who are here. You feeling that tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, all year we've kind of been playing with guys that have been injured, and you know, although they're great talents and could benefit us, you know, we are confident in whoever's playing, and we're confident with this group.
Now, a lot of the Rush players grew up watching Toronto Rock games. A lot of them are from Ontario. Is it special when you get to face this team, and what is it like? Because you haven't been here since 2017.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's just kind of getting used to this atmosphere. We knew this building likes to get loud, and you know, just kind of weathering the storm. Obviously only scoring 2 goals, we're not doing a great job of weathering the storm, but you know, like I said, we're getting chances, we just got to capitalize.
All right, well, I know you got to get back in that locker room and talk things out. Best of luck for the rest of the game, and I know your mom's in the crowd as well.
Yeah, Mom and Grandma made the trip, so hopefully we can have a nice second half here.
All right, thanks, Challen. Back to you guys.
Thanks a lot, Daniela. And Jake, you've had some history with Challen as well?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I had the chance actually to travel out with Mrs. Rogers and Grandma Rogers, and Challen Rogers actually presenting his mom with a Christmas gift. He hasn't seen her since Christmas. She showed me, guess what it was? It was his World Championship ring from Team Canada, but he didn't size it for his finger, he sized it for her finger. That was her Christmas gift, a World Championship ring for Team Canada from Challen Rogers for his mom.
You can see why he's a captain in the NLL at 25, making smart decisions like that. All right, NLL at the half is coming up in just a couple of minutes as we send it to break. You're watching the National Lacrosse League on BR Live.
Half. From the day he was drafted into the National Lacrosse League, Mark Matthews has been earning his nickname. The Mailman won Rookie of the Year in 2013, then delivered the Rush to the finals 4 times, won the NLL Championship 3, and was named League MVP in 2018. So which accolade does Mark Matthews want to cross off his list next? Devin Caney found out in this week's Huddle Up.
Picks the spot and scores. Mark Matthews.
Oh my goodness! What a goal right there by Mark Matthews.
Mark Matthews able to get that through.
Highlight reel material.
Mark Matthews coming off another 100-plus point season.
He's done that a few times before.
You're going to see this one not just tomorrow morning on SportsCenter, but for the rest of the week. Unbelievable finish by Mark Matthews. Are you kidding me?
You've accomplished quite a bit. How many championship games?
4.
An MVP title. What's next? Like, what else do you want to accomplish?
I'd like to win another championship. I mean, our team's getting a little older. Guys are kind of fizzling out from when we started, so we'd like to get maybe another championship with everybody again.
Maybe another one?
Maybe another one. Maybe 2.
Maybe 2, maybe
Never
3?
know. Yeah, until everybody's gone.
You guys have a pretty high standard set. Does that make it almost harder, when you have games like your game against the Mammoth last season that bumped you guys out of the playoffs?
Yeah, for sure. Losing that game obviously sucked. Being in the championship game or Western Finals for 6 or so years in a row, it is a tough pill to swallow, and we don't want that to happen again. And kind of been out to a pretty good start this year. See if we can keep it going.
Tell me about Saskatchewan and Saskatoon.
Beautiful, beautiful place. A little cold.
Just a little bit?
It was like minus 37 the other day or something.
Just a slight chill.
It's a different cold though. It's like a dry cold.
And you live out there full time?
I do, yeah. I just moved out there a little over a month ago. There's a lot to do. Not much big pro sports. I mean, Regina's a couple hours south. They have the Rough Riders, but our games are pretty exciting, as you would know, but yeah, they pack it in there.
Can you kind of describe the atmosphere? It's pretty electric out there.
There's I don't know how to explain it. They know how to do it.
Fans are on their feet here at SaskTel Center.
Party and you name it. There's like 5,000 people there for warm-up.
For warm-ups?
All with 2 beers in their hand, jerseys on, ready to go. Yeah, it's pretty funny.
As the next generation of lacrosse stars, maybe a future Mark Matthews in the bunch, out on the turf at halftime here as the Saskatchewan Rush lead the Toronto Rock 6-2 on Lax Day in Saskatchewan. You're watching the National Lacrosse League on BR Live. Welcome back to NLL at the half. Ryan Flaherty alongside Jake Elliott, and it was a slow start, a bit of a get-to-know-you in the first quarter between the Rush and the Rock, just the 1 goal, but the Rush really taking over the game in that second quarter. They now lead it 6-2.
Yeah, they just kind of kept chipping away, and finally they kind of broke through, and maybe 1, maybe 2 goals that Nick Rose would like to have back, but I don't know if you can blame him on a lot of it. I think it's just the Rush offense coming in waves and waves after, and they got it started on the power play, and once you get this home team behind you, things can get out of hand here pretty quickly when you're the Rush.
But last week in Philadelphia, all 7 players on offense found the net, and it's a similar story here tonight. We're seeing different guys chipping in, and that's really been the key to this offensive resurgence for the Rush here the last few weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a combination of a lot of things, but it's really been unselfish play. And I think back to the example that comes to mind is that Robert Church opportunity where he's right in the high slot, had a prime-time shooting opportunity, but knew Jeff Schaller was just off to his ring, moved that ball across, and Schatz had an empty net as he's got 2 in the first half as well. So I think it's been just everybody kind of buying into the system and being really unselfish.
As for the Toronto Rock, well, obviously 2 goals in a half is not going to cut it. They need to find more openings. Rob Hellier has yet to find the scoreboard. The Rush have done a good job shutting him down, but we're seeing perhaps the Chickens coming home to roost a little bit with this injuries and this Rock offense. There's not a lot there so far.
Yeah, I mean, they are getting opportunities in transition, which I really think has been a strong suit of their game so far here tonight. And I don't want to take anything away from Evan Kirk either, because I think he's been real solid. They're getting chances. They just haven't been able to bury them in the goals. Take a look at the stats. Skewed in the shot total for sure, but I still think that Toronto is getting some looks here. They just need to kind of bear down a little bit and try and bury the ball.
Our first half stats presented to you by BetMGM, and for the Rush, it's just more of the same in the second half. They have come up with the blueprint here through 30 minutes, and they need to keep their pedal, or their foot on the pedal rather.
Yeah, nothing decided here though, right through 30 minutes. We've seen big leads evaporate. We saw that in Halifax just a couple of weeks ago with an 8-goal quarter by the Halifax Thunderbirds. So I think that'll be a message in the locker room here for Derek Keenan and company. Let's look back, let's not dwell on it, but let's remember this game is only halfway done. The job is not complete here.
And even though these teams play in different divisions, this is an important game for both of them in the standings. I mean, to be talking it off the top, they both have 6 wins coming in, and Toronto in that really tough battle in the north, and the Rush, of course, trying to hold off a push in the second half of the season. As we look at a couple of the game stars as well in the first half, Ryan Keenan with a goal and 2 assists, and Robert Church having a really nice night here so far for Saskatchewan as well.
Yeah, 2-2 for Rob Church, and of course, you mentioned Toronto trying to keep pace. Well, Buffalo got the win here earlier tonight. New England got the win. I know they're in a different division, but those Eastern teams, those Northern teams, they are going to keep winning games, and that's what Toronto has to do. They got another big game coming up next week against Calgary, another Alterna Cup flats before they meet the Buffalo Bandits 2 weeks from now. So we'll see how the injuries progress here for Toronto. They should start to get some bodies back in their lineup. And when it comes to the Buffalo Bandits in 2 weeks, we'll see where their health is at for that big game.
And, I mean, when you talk about it, we're into the halfway mark here this season, so we're going to start looking at those playoff potential matchups. And with the change in the format, this game is important between these two because they're both also trying to get that #1 seed. And coming into this weekend, you had 5 teams separated by a single game at the top of that bracket.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? And kind of after every week, I take a look and go down the seedings and look who would be the playoff matchups week after week. And this new playoff format that we have, we are going to see some very unique playoff matchups in the first round. And I think at the end of the day, we're going to see the 2 best teams in the NLL Cup. And they could come from the same division, which I think is awesome. As long as you end up with the 2 best teams and you get those unique matchups, I think this is a great year and a great playoff format for the National Lacrosse League this season.
And with Halifax losing tonight, if the Rush can hang on and win this game, they will move into that #1 seed
so
in
important,
the National
right?
Lacrosse
You get that
League.
home floor throughout the playoffs. That's huge.
Yeah, absolutely. As we will send it to break, but we are getting set for a great second half here from SaskTel Center in Saskatoon. The Rock looking for a second half comeback as the Rush look to put their pedal down and finish off their 4th straight victory. Long way to go yet until that can happen. You're watching the National Lacrosse League on BR Live.
The NLL on BR Live is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com to see how much you could save. And by Alterna Bank, Canada's end-to-end digital bank. Alterna puts the good in banking. Visit alternabank.ca to learn more. Tonight's game is part of the Alterna Cup, our season-long competition between the NLL's Canadian franchises. Let's take a look at the standings and see where these 2 teams line up.
And the Rush looking to move to 2-0 in the Alterna Cup race this season, Jake, with another Alterna Cup matchup coming up next week here at SaskTel Center against the Vancouver Warriors.
Yeah, that'll be their first meeting against Vancouver next week. Back here, back-to-back home games, which is nice for us. And Toronto will have an Alterna Cup game as well as the Calgary Roughnecks will pay a visit to Scotiabank.
As let's send it down to the floor where Daniela is standing by with Rush head coach and GM Derek Keenan.
Thanks, Ryan. Coach, it's got to feel good to come off to a hot start, but we've seen leads like this, especially on the road, those recent games. So what is going to be the challenge in keeping that wide margin in the second?
I think the first stretch of the third quarter here is really important if we want to commit to battling for space and working hard in the dirty areas. They're a tough defensive team, so we really need to work hard. If we can do a little bit better job in transition to defense, they had some good opportunities. Kirky made some big saves. That's going to be a real push for them to try and do that against us. We have to be a little bit better there, but all in all, I like our tempo. We got to really grind 5-on-5 to get good looks against them. That's for sure.
Of course, it's not a divisional game, but it is a Canadian game, so it counts for the Alterna Cup. How motivating is that for you and for the guys?
Oh, it is. I mean, it's always a great rivalry with these guys. It goes back to we played them in the final in 2015. So, hopefully we can come through with a big win here in the second half.
All right, thanks, Coach. Back to you guys.
Thanks so much, Daniela, as we are just about set to get back underway here in the third quarter. And you heard the coach talk about that transition defense. You look back to that save Kirk made on Scott Dominey when it was 5-2, and that could prove to be a really big one going forward.
Blow the whistle, let's play some lacrosse. And yes, I mentioned early in that game that was the modus operandi here for Toronto. They're going to want to run with their limited offensive players here tonight. They want to get a production in transition, and they're going to want to run all night here. So that's something Saskatchewan is going to have to be wary of, and that's responsibility falls on the offensive players for the Rush to get off the floor and allow their defense to get back on the back end there.
And Toronto with the ball to start this third quarter. Hellier looking on Garland, the rookie does well to force Hellier into the corner. Long shot and a stop for Evan Kirk on that first set. Holden Garland leading all rookies in the NLL with 11 caused turnovers this season. A great start to his career for the first-round pick.
Yeah, he's been good. He's been solid. That's exactly what they were looking for when they drafted Holden Garland.
There's Matthews with it. Across for Church. Stick in the way there from Damon Edwards, who's hacking on Church. He gets the ball back, though. Shot clock draining. Has to take it from distance and goes off a body, and Scott Dominey will take it off the ricochet.
And a couple other games now underway here on a Saturday night in the National Lacrosse League. The Wings up 2-1 on the Mammoth, and it looks to be a 2-2 score after a dunk goal from Buchanan and the San Diego Seals with the Calgary Roughnecks.
And of course the Rush will be checking the score of that one after this game is over.
I was gonna say, after the game is over.
There's a dunk and a goal by the Rock. Dan Craig from behind the net. And Toronto pulls back within 3 here to start the second half.
Watch the effort here from Dan Craig, working behind the rack here on Evan Kirk, and little show that he's going to go one way and then pull the string, come back the other way, and he jams this one up into the top corner. Tough one for the goaltender to stop. There's the show, fake him out, and then Kirk just unable to get the shoulder up in time. Nice goal there from Dan Craig to get the Rock within 3.
And for Dan Craig, that is his 10th goal of the season. And it's an important one for Toronto, starting the half with something positive and narrow the gap. Face-off battle, and Jeremy Thompson will win it for Saskatchewan. Thompson over to Corbeil. Now McIntosh, who just came off the bench, but his shot is blocked by Sheldon Burns.
Nice stick there from Burns. He just more or less just blocked that shot right with his pocket.
Now Hellier with some speed now peels off. We'll wait for the change to finish. Gets it to Reinhold, and Hellier's actually going to head off. There's a big check in the middle. This time it's Corbeil delivering it, but he's going to draw a penalty as he is not happy about this upcoming call. Still has to play some defense first. There's a shot, and Kirk makes the save. Toronto with a fresh 30 here, and the extra attacker on as Rose has gone to the bench.
Now, I want to see the replay on this Corbeil hit after this 6-on-5 here from Toronto.
And they make it a little closer. Powless down low for Rogers. Now back up as Forster back out there on this set. Rogers swings low and tries to squeeze it by Kirk, but no can do. And Corbeil will touch up and now make the walk to the penalty box.
Mans looks to be okay as he popped back up, but here we go. And I think that was Mans' own stick that went into his face mask there. I don't know if we can get one more look at it there, fellas.
Number 16, 5 minutes high stick.
Oh, they're going to call 5.
That's a big, big call. They even put 2 on the board, and now they're going to have to change it here inside the building.
If we can get one more look at that. I think this is actually Zach Mans' own stick that goes up into his grill. Yeah,
so, the Rock, chance to narrow the gap even further. Big, big opportunity here in this Rush penalty kill, which wasn't tested in the first half. Now facing a huge challenge right now.
This is massive here for Toronto. Down 3, got a 5-minute man advantage. Chance to get 2 on the power play here. This is a big junction in the game right now.
So Mike Messenger in absolutely no hurry whatsoever. Now works his way past Cree and swings behind the goal. Tries to dunk, and he scored. No, he doesn't. They had the foot in the crease.
Keenan might want to look at this.
There was a hesitation there by the referee before making the ruling, but it remains 6-3, and
There's
for now,
the replay, Flats.
The flag stays in the pocket.
I think he's got it trapped against his back in the crossbar there, does Nick Rose.
Looked like it got through, but Nick Rose keeping it out, and it's still 6-3. That pass is almost picked off. Now Palace's shot is wide. Shot clock down to 5. And another wide shot. It's going to be a 30-second violation against Toronto on this power play, as now they've eaten up the first minute and 7 seconds.
A close call there, but Rock come up empty.
So another chance for Saskatchewan to kill some more time here, as Robert Church will have the ball. They'll work it around the outside. This Rush penalty kill has been a bit of an Achilles heel for them going back to last season, and made a little bit of progress last week. Got the percentage up over 40, but still last in the National Lacrosse League, and that's obviously a major area of focus as Saskatchewan moves forward this season.
Usually you'll see the best teams at the end of the year will have some of the best special teams. And right now the rush power play doing okay, but it's the penalty kill that needs to get going, and vice versa for Toronto.
And we are seeing, we touched on it earlier, this is not a strong power play for the Rock. So it's a matchup between two teams that are looking to improve their special teams on this particular scenario.
4-2 Calgary now.
Hellier dishes it off for Rogers, and Kirk comes up with the save.
Tracking the ball very well right now, Evan Kirk.
Rock back with it, new shot clock. Powless to Hellier, fires, and again, Kirk gets a piece. Another reset for Toronto. Forster back for Hellier. Walks in, fires, Kirk, the shoulder save.
I'm a little surprised they're letting Hellier fire away from the point here. I think you want to let somebody else beat you. They're going to do so. Oh, what a stop.
Some motion in the middle as Forster was looking for his first career goal, but Evan Kirk gets low to make the stop. Penalty time is halfway over. Corbeil continues to sit his major penalty. Rush penalty killers doing their job so far. McIntosh being watched by David Brock. Now cuts down the outside. Takes the shot, Nick Rose with the save, and now Keenan gets wiped out in the corner by Damon Edwards, who actually takes the worst of that.
Man, oh man, McIntosh did not miss by much there. Rose with just enough of that one to keep it out, as they're under 2 to go here on the major.
Still lots of work to be done. Reinhold thinks about a shot, now leaves it for Craig. Back to Reinhold, Kirk reads it, comes across, makes the stop. Rogers behind the goal, up for Hellier. Now sitting over on that left side.
A little shift here for the Rock.
Back for Craig. Now Hellier took his eye off the pass. Now gathers it back in. Rogers still 20 on the shot clock. Cross for Reinhold. He can't field that cleanly. Now it's back up top for Dan Craig. Takes the return feed. No shot. Back for Reinhold. Fakes, takes, scores! Reed Reinhold, a patient attack that time from the Rock. They finally find the shot they're looking for, and Reed Reinhold cuts the deficit to 2.
Yeah, that's the key word right there, Flats. Patience from Reed Reinhold. Pump fake, throws the goaltender a little bit, have a look, see if anybody's open, no, and then make the decision. Take your shot, pick your spot, stick side, hip high, maybe 7-hole there on Evan Kirk as it goes through the elbow and torso of 35 into the goal. That's 1 off the major now, 6-4, still $1.19 left on that penalty time to Chris Corbeil. So the Rock can still get another one here on the man advantage. Big face-off.
And it's Thompson who comes up with that face-off win. So a chance for Saskatchewan to get this down under a minute. Travis Cornwall out there, letting a couple of offensive players join the fray. Now Matthews is out there along with Church, Dinsdale, and Connor Robinson. A minute to go in the major penalty. Matthews across, Dinsdale, great job to pull that pass in. Shot clock, just 2 seconds left in the behind the back shot, nowhere near the net. Shot clock violation against Saskatchewan, and that will take us to a timeout as the Rock chipping away here to start the third quarter. They've added a couple to their total and now trail by only 2. It's a 6-4 game with 8:12 to go in the third. You're watching the National Lacrosse League on BR Live. Next weekend, the Calgary Roughnecks head to Scotiabank Arena to take on the Rock in an Alterna Cup matchup. Catch the action on BR Live starting Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time.
Great graphics for that Alterna Cup right there.
Look at that. So the Rock will be battling another West Division foe next week, and so will the Rush, as they'll end a run of 3 straight against teams outside the division, as they will face the Vancouver Warriors for the first time this season. The crowd getting loud here inside SaskTel Center, sensing that their team needs a bit of a lift. The Rock have scored 2 to open the half. They still have 46 seconds to work with here on this major penalty to Chris Corbeil.
They like their lacrosse here in Saskatchewan, don't they, Flats? Lacrosse Day in Saskatchewan right now, and the fans are into it.
The love affair is real. Craig with it as we are back underway here. Dilks all over Dan Craig, who finally gets free. Lays it off for Hellier, and Kirk gets the stop.
Big stop there for Kirk.
And that should allow the Rush to kill the rest of the penalty and escape with just 1 goal against in the 5-minute major. You have to think they can call that a win.
I would concur.
Schattler ragging the ball here. Final 10 seconds of the man advantage for Toronto. Maybe a shot late in the possession here. We'll wait and see. Keenan making a move. Now rolling off the pick, but no opening. Schattler looking for Dinsdale, but the shot clock expires. And the Rock will take over, but mission accomplished. Corbeil out of the box and got a little extra rest here in the third quarter, as did the Rush captain, so he should be pretty fresh for the rest of this game.
He will indeed, yes. He'll stay out there and play some defense after that big kill that just allowed 1 on that major penalty.
But Toronto back with the ball and still looking to get within 1. Mans can't get around Matt Hawson. He now slides over to take on Craig. Skips the ball across. Hellier, long shot. Kirk, easy stop. Not for me or you, but for Evan Kirk.
Yes, indeed. That one's going past David Ayres probably as well.
The EBA will be here in the building next week when the Warriors come to town.
Look forward to it.
Connor Robinson across for Dinsdale. Has a goal here tonight. Now Church takes a check, but took that shot off course. And Toronto scoops it up. Jay,
numbers
up the floor in transition. Now a diving attempt and a stopper. Did that hit the post? Either way, it stays out. On that chance for Burns.
Now is Evan Kirk at his finest right there.
And he looks sharp again here this evening, does Evan Kirk.
Beautiful stop.
Last time he played at home, it was one of his best games of his career. An absolute duel with Dylan Ward as the Rush guilty of an over and back that time. Under 6 to go here in the third. Toronto will gain possession.
Mark that down. It could be our turn-a-bank save of the game right there.
Rogers spinning. Back and stood up for Hellier. Corbeil trying to follow him into the corner now for Rogers. Palace finds Reinhold. Has the last Toronto goal on the power play. Now back to Craig. Rogers. Corbeil, good recovery that time. Now Hellier, 10 to shoot. Cross they go, and that's a goal for Reid Reinhold, who got the quick stick over. A little bit of a delay on the signal, but it is a good goal, and the Rock are within 1.
Yeah, it was a very close call. I want to see the replay here. I was about to comment how good the defensive rotation was there from Justin Robinson, but the Rock able to get that extra pass off right there. And this might be worth a challenge here, Flats. Let's have another look. Reinhold, it should be a good angle. And
hard
man,
to see
that's
from there.
Tough. This will be, yeah, that's a goal. That last angle we just saw there, that ball again didn't touch the black meshing in behind Evan Kirk, but clearly across the goal line. We got ourselves a 1-goal contest here. 5:33 to go in the third. 6-5 Saskatchewan.
And Reid Reinhold with the last 2 goals, give him 5 on the season, and that's the kind of contribution you need when you're missing other pieces. And here comes Jay off the draw, and Kirk with a very big save there on Adam Jay.
Well, as we know, lacrosse, of course, a game of runs, a game of momentum. And right now, the Rock have Big Mo on their side. It's up to the Rush to stem the tide right now.
Goal would be well-timed right about now. McIntosh for Schattler. The Rush haven't had a 5-on-5 for a while here. Church misses the target with that shot. Jubenville will pick it up for Toronto and start the Rush up the floor.
That's the good luck. That's the shot that they're looking for on that offensive set. Church just missing the goal.
So Hellier still goalless on this night, but waiting. Almost had one there, but just over top of the net. He can strike at any time.
Yeah, you know, he's very rarely held off the score sheet goal-wise here. He's just so prolific putting the ball into the net, but so far, the Rush have done the job.
Averaging over a hat trick per game this season is Rob Hellier. Matthews waiting for the change to be completed. Here comes Dinsdale sprinting down the floor. Matthews uses him as a decoy, and Rose makes the stop. Burns quickly the other way. Chance perhaps with numbers. Burns takes it, and Kirk makes the big stop. Keenan, good job to get one-handed pass across from Travis Cornwall, and now he points to his brother Jeff, who opens up some room, and Travis stopped by Rose.
Opening up now.
Pace picks up now here with 3:50 to go in the third quarter. A wild pass, almost picked off by Hossack, but the Rock maintain possession. 15 on the shot clock. Rob Hellier. Across. Palace back to Hellier. Long shot, Kurt stops it. Covers up the rebound, and he'll start the counterattack.
We're in the break window, but not yet, says the referee. Keep going.
Ryan Dilks now with it. The Rush haven't done much in transition here tonight, and the Rock have done a good job preventing that. Shatler from McIntosh. Long shot stopped by Nick Rose. Quickly up he goes for Dominy. Chance for a 2-on-0. Scott Dominy in a low, scores! Scott Dominy ties it up with a beauty as he picks the corner, and it's 6-6.
Again, Toronto Rock defenders are just, as soon as they see a Rush player wind up to take a shot, two guys are just taking off the top. They are determined to score in transition here tonight. Rose with another assist, and Dominy, who is continually impressing me with his transition play, pots another here for the Rock and ties the game at 6.
It's a 4-0 run here in the third quarter by Toronto. We heard the captain, Challen Rogers, talk about going into halftime what they needed to do, and it looks like the regroup at half worked wonders. McIntosh comes in to win that face-off battle. So the Rush trying to stem the tide here. They have not trailed in this game. Church being watched by Brock, backs up for Dinsdale, now Mark Matthews. Flip pass into the middle, looking for Robinson, he's double teamed, and the Rock get the ball. Brock quickly up the floor, has Haustrauser. Now he slows it down, leaves it for Hellier. Good decision, no goals to 29 goals. Hellier, waiting, now goes to Reinhold. Rogers in the middle, Messenger all over him. Now to Reinhold and into the corner. And we've got a stoppage of play. We have a penalty coming up here to the Toronto Rock with possession. A bit of a strange scenario here, but that will take us to a timeout as Hellier's going to get the game.
Yeah, we'll straighten out for you when we return here to SaskTel Center.
You're
2:10 to go.
right.
Third quarter tied at 6. You're watching the National Lacrosse League on BR Live.
Back live inside SaskTel Center as the grocery game is in full swing here in the break. So let's send it down to floor level where Daniela Ponticelli is standing by with Rush captain Chris Corbeil.
Thanks, Ryan. Chris, we're coming to you at a very crucial time in the game. We're now tied up. What is it going to take to shift that momentum back? Of course, it's a game of runs, so.
Yeah, we got to get the momentum back. It's going to take hard work up front and on our D end. It's just that simple. We stopped moving around up front and doing what works for us. And defensively, we actually haven't been that bad. We got to cut off transition and tidy up a few things, but overall, we're playing pretty well back there.
Yeah, in terms of those big leads, it's so tough to keep those wide margins, but is that kind of what the team is focused on?
The team's just focused on the next one. It's tied ball game here, so the next one's obviously quite important. We got a big power play coming up here, and hopefully we get a couple on them.
Thank you so much, Chris. Back to you guys.
Thanks a lot, Daniela. And yes, you heard the captain, a penalty, a major penalty to Rob Hellier. So after Corbeil sat out for 5, now Hellier's off the floor for 5.
Yeah, neither one of us
get the chance to get back in front.
And neither one of us really saw this major from Rob Hellier either, so we're a little perplexed to see 5 go up on the board, but here we go.
So the Rush going to work here with the man advantage. Huge opportunity to regain some momentum. Keenan stopped by Rose. And the Rock get the rebound. Billy Haustrauser, and a penalty call coming up now to Ben McIntosh, who raises his head to the rafters, and a shot stopped by Evan Kirk. Corbeil touches the ball, and well, for the next 2 minutes anyway, we're going to have some 4-on-4 lacrosse.
Now, it's a bit of a wrap check, if you will, here from McIntosh, trying to make contact with the stick, and I think Haustrauser just pulled the stick out of the way at the last second, and McIntosh got him right in the grill, and that'll get you 2 minutes in the penalty box every single time.
Just when the Rush had a prime opportunity. It's taken away now. However, some extra space on the floor now. And the one good thing from Saskatchewan's perspective is that the most dangerous Rock player is sitting in the box. That being said, Toronto with 6 goals tonight. Rob Hellier doesn't have any of them. So, the Rock with the ball out of the restart here. 4-on-4 they go. Forster wide of the goal, gets it back off the end boards. And still lots of time on the shot clock. Reinhold with it now. Rubisch guarding him. Gives him a couple of shots. Reinhold now leaves it for Dan Craig. He'll fire. Kirk makes the stop. And the rebound picked up by Kyle Rubisch. See what the Rush can do here in the 4-on-4 situation. Matthews takes that pass off the bench. Takes a shot, scores! Mark Matthews waits for the perfect time to get his first of the night. And the Rush are back in front.
I know he's so good at passing the ball as Mark Matthews, but I often wonder why the mailman does not shoot more often. And this is just straight heat from 42 as he loads up. Got a good pick from Keenan, a little skip, and this one trickles through. Nick Rose, Rush have never trailed in this game as they push back in front 7-6.
And for Mark Matthews, that is his 11th goal of the season, and it comes at a critical time for Saskatchewan. 1:10 to go in the third quarter, and they are back in front thanks to that goal by Mark Matthews. Now another, oh, pardon me, I thought for a second we saw an arm up there, but play continues as Ryan Dilks leads the way.
Wind in the shot clock.
Robert Church now. Crosses for Schattler, who was wide open, and Rose gets a piece. And a shot clock reset, and Church does well, along with Marty Dinsdale, to get the possession back. Under 40 seconds to go in the quarter. Church for Schattler, shot partially blocked, and it bounces down harmlessly on Rose. See how the Rock handle this possession now, under 30 in the quarter. Bad pass behind the man there. Now back to Challen Rogers, who's just inside the halfway line. Finally makes his way deep into the Saskatchewan end, and just as he's about to shoot, ball taken away, but a great goal behind the back by Johnny Powless, and we're all tied at 7.
Wow. Wow, from Powless is all I can say here. Watch this. Corbeil and company make the check on Rogers. Ball loose. Powless finds it on the turf. Quick scoop. Over the shoulder he goes. And into the back of the goal it goes. We're tied at 7 on a beauty from Johnny Powless.
Powless with 2 tonight now and 7 on the year, and we have 2 7s on the board.
And we'll look to see here, 4-on-4 lacrosse right now, 12.3 to go on the clock. See if either team calls a timeout off possession. And it will be Rush ball here. Keenan calling for Kirk, wants him to come quickly. Empty net now. Here we go with 8 seconds.
And the play will continue. No timeout forthcoming as Matthews gets down to Dinsdale, tries to spin away, ball knocked free. And a push on Toronto, so Saskatchewan will still get the ball. 1.2 on the clock. They have a quick strike here. Matthews gets set up. Underway, across, they shoot! And Rick Rose gets in the way of that bid from Marty Dinsdale, but the Rush got the shot off. We have a tie game heading to the 4th. Lots of thrills to come here in the final 15 minutes. Saskatchewan Rush, Toronto Rock 7-7 as we take a look at some of the highlights here from the second half as Toronto outscores the Rush 5-1 in the third. You're watching the National Lacrosse League on BR Live. Back inside SaskTel Center as we get set for 4th quarter action with the Saskatchewan Rush and Toronto Rock tied at 7. Ryan Flaherty here with you alongside Jake Elliott and the third member of our team, Daniela Ponticelli. What have you got for us, Daniela?
Ryan, for teams that don't see each other often in the regular season, that rivalry certainly is feeling strong and steady here in Rush Nation. Down on floor level, it's very clear that the passion is there, the frustration is there too. Defensive battle, of course, as we're seeing, but also all tied up after having a big lead to start this second half for the Rush. We heard from the captain saying it's got to take it one at a time. and also that it's tough. That third quarter has been kind of notoriously tough for the Rush in the last couple games, although they have pulled out victories for that, so only time will tell to see what the Rock pull out, just considering they're missing quite a few of their offensive players. Guys?
Thanks, Daniela, and a close call there as Forster rang one right off the pipe. That close to giving Toronto the lead as the Rush now try to get back in front. Ben McIntosh for Mark Matthews.
Well, the West play some lacrosse. Two good chances for both teams coming off that opening faceoff. Now remember here, the Rush on a 5-minute major power play here, so even though there's just 2 minutes up on the board, they can get 2 goals on this man advantage.
Yes, McIntosh has served his time, and here's Schattler in close, but a good stick check by Haustrauser before Schattler could get the shot off. Brad Cree bringing it back up the floor. So both teams scoring the last couple of minutes of that third quarter, trading goals. But the Rush, second half, bit of an issue for them at times this season as they've had 3 straight wins, but we saw the big comeback against Halifax 2 weeks ago. And
they weren't great in the fourth quarter against Halifax. They weren't great against Philadelphia in the third quarter, but they managed to find a way to win both games as they come into this final 15 minutes here deadlocked at 7. Anybody's ball game.
Schattler back for Robert Church, who has 2 goals here tonight. So does Jeff Schattler. Matthews has 1. Now back for Church. Shot is blocked. Comes back to Keenan, still 10 to shoot for Saskatchewan. Matthews down low, shot wide of the goal, bounces out of play as they were looking for that Ben McIntosh quick stick.
That's usually money in the bank there for 90, and he knows it, that he should have stuck that one with the empty net.
Toronto dodging one there. Now under a minute to go in the major penalty to Rob Hellier, who is going to have some fresh legs to finish this game off as well. He's been in there for quite a while.
Yeah, it's a long time to sit and stew, especially as an offensive player for 5 full minutes.
Reinhold can't get away from Rubish, and now Justin Robinson comes over on the double. Finally, Reinhold dunks it and scores! The hat-trick goal for Reed Reinhold is a spectacular one, and the Rock have their first lead of the game.
Kirk just unable to get snug up against the crossbar to keep this one out, but how about the effort? A short-handed one at that from Reed Reinhold as he's got Robinson and Rubish on him. Takes it behind the goal, the big sky hook, and this one, I don't know, maybe challenge coming here for Derek Keenan because I think Reinhold was on the ground before the ball crossed the goal line. As they watch the replay here, I don't see a challenge flag coming, however.
5-on-4
Derek Keenan watching this replay just like everyone else in the building, but doesn't look to be reaching for his pocket. I think that ball was in there early, right away, and then leaks out.
Well, Keenan will hang on to the red flag and rock into the lead for the first time tonight.
6-1, they've outscored Saskatchewan here in this second half thus far. 12.5 to go here in the fourth. And the Rush playing from behind for the first time tonight. Matthews trying to lead the charge. Still some time on the power play, 15 seconds in it. Matthews, pass is intercepted, and here comes Challen Rogers all alone with Matthews on his back. Rogers in, fires, and Kirk comes up big. David Brock over to scoop that loose ball, but he has 3 Rush players in his grill, and Robert Church takes it away.
Back to 5-on-5 we go. So not only do the Rock kill it off, but they get one short-handed as well.
That will give them a lift, no doubt. Keenan. McIntosh, Rose with the save. Back come Toronto. Dominy has to slow down to pull that pass in. So no transition chance this time for the Rock, who have been good in that department tonight. Mans across. Hellier, having served his time, you know he wants to get on the board here in the fourth. Craig over the top, long shot, misses the goal, and Dilk scoops up the loose ball. He's got Hossack with him, takes the pass. And Hossack now peeling off as Toronto had numbers back defensively. Schattler will wait for the rest of his mates. Schattler, skip pass, over for Dinsdale. Now Dinsdale waiting. To Keenan, no shooting lane, now gets inside, but quickly cut off. 2 seconds on the shot clock. Keenan takes it, and Rose holds his ground.
Georgia Swarm out to a quick 4-0 lead over the Vancouver Warriors. Philadelphia with a 1-goal lead over Colorado, 4-3. Dane Doby with 5 goals on 5 out of the 6 goals for the Calgary Roughnecks so far tonight.
You think the Riggers are happy to have him back in the lineup?
My goodness.
Toronto now looking to make it a 2-goal lead, but Evan Kirk makes the stop that time on Reed Reinhold, and quickly up the floor for Jeremy Thompson. Jubenville is there. Thompson, little fake towards the goal, and now steps back, leaving it for Ben McIntosh.
Don't force, get the offense out, work some clock, and try and get a good look.
McIntosh trying to cut his way to the inside. The Rock have done a good job clogging up the middle tonight. Matthews back for Schattler, bouncer. Rose gets a piece, but Brad Cree gets to the loose ball. Jubenville has a man streaking off the bench. It's Hellier, takes, and he scores as Kirk got a piece, but it trickles across the line, and Rob Hellier sneaks off the bench and in behind the rush D. It's a 2-goal lead for Toronto.
You knew you weren't going to keep number 10 off the scoreboard all night long here, and Rob Hellier just rears back and puts everything he's got into this sidearm whip and just overpowers the Rush goaltender with some good old-fashioned smoke. And that one rolls across the goal line, and it's 9-7 Toronto here with 10 minutes even to go at SaskTel Center.
And for Rob Hellier, that is goal number 30 on the season, and give him 5 straight 30-goal seasons on a personal level. One, he did sit out a year, but
he's a machine.
5 straight 30-goal campaigns.
And had
lots more to come for Rob Hellier.
Sorry, Flats. Had him on the podcast a couple of weeks ago and asked him, how long did it take to feel healthy off of that knee injury? And he said it took about a 2.5-year time span to feel 100% confident.
And he sure looks 100% this season, and the Rock have needed it. He comes up with a big goal here in the 4th to stretch the lead to 2. Hellier with the ball now on his stick. Long shot. Kirk gets low, makes the save. Under 10 minutes to go now in the 4th quarter, and the Rush playing comeback lacrosse now. After steering the ship through the first half, the Rock have been in control throughout this second half. Now all alone in front, it's Church, and he scores!
Listen to this
Huge goal for the Rush.
Listen to this crowd after that one from Robert Church. As he gets his 3rd of the game, gets the Rush back within 1, 9-12 to go. Is nice little off-ball cut here, and Keenan shopping finds Church down the pipe, top corner short side, and we got a 1-goal game here in Saskatoon, and this building is a rockin' after that one. Remember, Flats, this game was 6-2 Saskatchewan, now 9-8 Toronto, and all to play for here with 9 minutes to go.
9:12 to go in the 4th. Robert Church, 3 goals, 2 assists by my count here tonight. Another solid game for the Drexel product. As Ryan Dilks gets possession off the draw for Saskatchewan, a chance to tie it up here on offense. Hossack lays it back for Ryan Dilks, and now those 2 defenders will make their way to the bench. Rush with 15 to shoot. Dinsdale coming out of the corner, gets a pick over the top. Dinsdale fires, and Rose just gets in front of it. It ends up in behind the shin guard. Big save for Nick Rose, keeps the Toronto Rock lead at 9-8 as we get set to go to break.
Robert Church doing damage here for Saskatchewan tonight. They might need a little more out of 17. He's got 5 points on the evening, including 3 goals. But his Rush are down 1 with 8:42 here to go in the 4th quarter. We'll be back with more National Lacrosse League action on BR Live right after this.
Next weekend, the Vancouver Warriors will be here at SaskTel Center to take on the Rush in an Alterna Cup matchup. Catch the action on BR Live starting Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Ryan Flaherty, Jake Elliott, Daniela Ponticelli here with you. 4th quarter, Toronto Rock leading the Saskatchewan Rush 9-8 as they've outscored Saskatchewan 7-2 here in the second half. Play back underway, Hellier with the ball. Toronto trying to get back to a 2-goal lead here. Rogers. Long shot, kicked out by Kirk. Rebound scooped it up by Jeremy Thompson, who makes a beeline to the other end of the floor. Now slowing things down as the offense will come off. Robert Church, he'll lead this set here with the ball in his stick. Matthews now with it. Trying to back his man in. Gets around Jubenville. Matthews, wrong side, long shot from behind the goal. It's Church with a long dive there, Schattler, excuse me. Now here come the Rock, back up the floor with numbers. Hellier off the bench, fires, and Kirk with a big stop on Rob Hellier. Hellier making a bid for his second of the game, but Kirk denies him. Toronto with a fresh 30 though. It's Aaron Forster trying to get around Cornwall, does, but steps in the crease, and now a pile up, and well, the official taken down awkwardly, and this does not look good. We might need a trainer here out on the floor, and he makes the signal. No goal, crease violation, but now we have to check on the health of our official here. That was an awkward collision, and it got him right low down on the leg.
Yeah, watch it on the replay here. He gets rolled up right into his knees here and goes down awkwardly. Stays in there to make the call, but ouch, that one hurts. I think Daniela had a great angle of that flat. So let's go down to the turf and talk to Miss Ponticelli.
Yeah, Jake, right now it's the Rush trainer who's over there with the official, who's talking and answering some questions. But yeah, that was just a nasty hit and in clear view. But as officials do, back to business. Great signal, big pop from the crowd, who loves to see that too. So hopefully the official can get up on their own strength as soon as possible. Guys?
I think we might be down a man here for the rest of this game. I know Ian Wilson in the penalty box here running the 30. We might have to pull the old switcheroo. I think maybe we might get Ian out on the turf here, because the way it's looking now, I don't know if this is a cramp situation or whether it's knee related, but Rush trainer out there working on it. Yeah, it did not look good.
Over the top, and you could see the knees as he was in the half crouch to get a good angle on that shot attempt there by the Rock, and just focused on the play, and Cornwall trying to avoid getting into the pileup ends up going over the top and hit him right in the knee by the looks of it. So hopefully nothing too serious, but obviously a concern. And it looks like he's in a fair bit of pain. But
and if nothing else, this gives both teams an opportunity to kind of regroup, refocus here, get the game plan in order for this final 7 minutes and 29 seconds in this one-goal game, as Connor Robinson doing his best risky business on the Jumbotron here, and the fans absolutely love it as they get the wave going, as the official up and standing here, but I don't think he's going to be able to continue in this game.
Be able to run up and down the floor. We'll have to wait and see. But you're right, the building is pumping right now here. The fans trying to give their team a little extra jolt of energy with 7:29 on the clock. It's a one-goal game. Toronto with another gritty effort here tonight. Down a lot of key pieces, but they aren't playing like it. And they lead it 9-8. And yes, I believe we're going to have a man down for the rest of the night here. Do we have an emergency backup official? David Ayers type person going? Just in stripes?
It runs down the inside of like the knee and the calf.
So walking very gingerly off the turf here.
Yeah, tough to see that, and hopefully it's not a major injury, but can't take any chances. And yes, it'll be a two-man crew on the floor for the rest of this one.
Yeah, and it's what they used to do. This won't be a big adjustment for either official. They'll be fine here. Quick look at the out-of-town scoreboard flats. 4-4 now between Colorado and Philadelphia. Georgia up on Vancouver 5-1. Halifax going down to defeat 13-9. Rochester 13-12 over New York.
And we are back underway. Rush with the ball, down a goal. Matthews across for Church, gets inside off the crossbar. Then the Rock pick up the loose ball. Brad Cree brings it up. Good look for Robert Church there, making a bid for his fourth goal of the game. Zach Mans now with it as the clock ticks down to 7 minutes to go here in the fourth. Mans can't get around Rubish. He strips him of the ball, but Mans sticking with the play, gets it back. Over to Hellier. Fires it right up high on Kirk, who makes a save.
Let me get my Captain Obvious outfit on here, Ryan Flaherty. The next goal in this game is a biggie.
Yes, sir. Was waiting for that. Thank you, Jake. And absolutely, you are...
Things broadcasters say for 200 hours.
That's right, that's right. Yes, 9-8 the score, 6.5 to go here in the fourth. Dan Craig. Now the Rock will be a little more patient. They'd love to get another one open up. A little bit of breathing room here. Hellier over for Forster. Cuts inside. Cornwall and then he stepped in the crease again. Forster taken away twice now here in the last couple of minutes.
Let's see if the Rock want to challenge that.
And now Messenger back the other way, fakes the shot. Now ladles it off for Ben McIntosh.
No challenge coming.
Yeah, the foot was dragging on the line there. McIntosh coming across the top, in through the middle. Winds his way all the way around behind the Rock goal. Now 8 on the shot clock. Good defense by Toronto. Looking in the middle, but nobody home. And a strong set that time by the Rock D.
No, there's just nothing there for the Rush offense on that 30 seconds.
So Toronto leading the way right now. Rogers backing down Corbeil now. Tries it again. Still can't get around the Rush captain. Hellier for Paulus. Now back to Chow and Rogers. Rob Hellier with it now. Trying to work inside on Corbeil. Now a low shot, tough angle, looking for that reset. Didn't get it though, and the Rush have the ball. Jeremy Thompson leaves it for Marty Dinsdale, fresh off the bench. Now into the corner. Church for Matthews. Now Schattler with it. And the Rush find an equalizer here late. Schattler. No lane, now takes it, but Rose is right there, standing in the way. Under 5 to go here in the fourth.
Yeah, Saskatchewan's got to find a way to try and penetrate the middle of the Rock defense right now. Everything coming from the outside, and that's what Rose and the Rock defense want.
You can see why they are one of the stingiest defenses in this National Lacrosse League. Playing right to their numbers so far. Long shot from Craig, stopped by Kirk. And a loose ball rolls all the way back out to the middle of the floor. And a battle for it, and Brad Cree comes up with it. Big loose ball win that time by Toronto. Cree will head back to the bench, and the offense jumps right back on. Hellier with Rogers, Forster. Pass goes across to the far corner for Mans. And Craig out there as well on this set. Now Forster with it. Under 4 minutes remaining in the fourth. Long shot from Forster, stopped by Kirk. And Matt Hossett comes up with the loose ball.
Having a bit of a hard time getting an update out of Calgary. Latest score, I got 8-8 between the Riggers and the Seals.
Ben McIntosh with it now as the crowd pumps up the volume once more. McIntosh. There's a shot from Church, and a stop by Nick Rose, and the ball collected by Toronto.
Big finish coming up from SaskTel here. 3 to go. Toronto ball.
Johnny Paulus takes it from Damon Edwards now for Rogers. The Rock keep taking time off this clock. That shot blocked and almost comes all the way up into our broadcast booth here on the ricochet, which will take us to our final timeout. Exactly 3 minutes on the clock. The Rush trailing by a goal. Can they get back on even terms and force overtime? We'll wait and see, but we are about to find out here in just a couple of minutes' time. You're watching the National Lacrosse League on BR Live. Time now for the play of the game presented by Geico, and it was Marty Dinsdale's crease dive goal in the first half that put the Rush up 6-2, and they look to be in full control. But the Rock have flipped the script here in the second half, and they now lead it 9-8 with 3 minutes on the clock. Ryan Flaherty, Jake Elliott, Daniela Ponticelli with you. Glad you could be with us on a Saturday night here in Saskatoon, and what has turned out to be an absolute barn burner between two of the top teams in the NLL.
Had to give the goal to the brand new father. That one was for you, Ali Catherine Dinsdale. Welcome to the world.
So Toronto with possession out of the restart, and a chance to really give themselves a little bit of insurance perhaps. Craig for Rogers, trying to work his way inside, backs it out for Hellier. Now Craig being watched closely, gets free, and the shot stopped by Evan Kirk.
I don't think you pull Evan Kirk quite yet, but maybe next possession here. Let's see what the Rush can do with 2:25 to go.
Ryan Dilks bounces it across to Ryan Keenan. Now he leaves it for McIntosh. Rush with 2 minutes and 15 seconds to find a tying goal. Matthews heading towards the goal from behind, and Rose just read that beautifully, just closed the door on that dunk try.
Some goalies are not very good defending against the dunk. Nick Rose is not one of those guys. He is one of the best at stopping the dunk.
Is a great save. Sorry, Jake, but wow. That was clutched by Evan Kirk, because that could have been lights out here with 1:59 to go.
And they're probably going to have a look at this, because now it comes underneath that 2-minute window, so it's an automatic review here from the officials, and I think they're going to take a look and see if this one might have trickled across the goal line. I don't see any conclusive evidence. I don't think it's going to count, but they're going to look at it.
As they get the net reset here behind Evan Kirk.
Or maybe they're not.
It is loud inside the cable box right now. 1:59 to go. And we will have an automatic review here. So it's been a real struggle for the Rush to find offense here in this second half, and the Rock defense has really shut them down in the middle of the floor. We saw that earlier in the season where the Rush were having difficulties getting to the middle. I don't think it's an effort issue tonight, just a really stiff defense. And with our crew chief Ryan Fowler being knocked out of the game here with that injury, so we don't have any audio for this review. So
we haven't seen a replay yet either, but Kirk coming sliding across, and I just don't know if you ever see the ball across the goal line here, so they need conclusive evidence to overturn this call, which was no goal on the floor here. And a spectacular stop nonetheless from Evan Kirk, stretching out that left leg to keep that one across. Took the net off its line as well, but I just don't see the ball anywhere across the goal line. So I think it's underneath him somewhere. Even if he is across and below the goal line there, but if you don't see the ball, you can't call.
100%. And for those who may be relatively new to this sport, the fact that the net was moved doesn't have any bearing here. The play can continue. So they're looking at whether the ball was across the line. And you're right, Jake, I don't see anything on this overhead look that would tell us that that is a goal. But too close to not have a second look.
Yeah, and the crazy part of this all is that this is coming with 150. So if this comes 2 seconds earlier, they're not even reviewing this. It's going the other way. But because it came at 1:59, it becomes an automatic review here for the official.
He will take his time looking at all the angles. And a big decision here too, because obviously if for some reason this is a goal, then it's a 2-goal lead for Toronto with under 2 minutes to play. And the Rush haven't had a lot of positives here in this second half.
And you gotta give Toronto a lot of credit coming in here with no Brock Sorensen, no Latrell on the back end here, no Dawson, no Adam Jones, no Schreiber up front. And to grind this thing down to 2 minutes to go here with a 1-goal lead has been real impressive. And to do it in a hostile environment on the road, all the more impressive here. You got to give Toronto a lot of credit for the position that they're in now, but still a lot of time to go.
Here we go.
Conclusive evidence to call in the field stands, no goal.
As we suspected, Jake,
the fans will let you know.
Ruling will stand, and the fans are pretty happy about that.
The Rush ball, 1:59 to play, down a goal. Shots on goal now, Flats. Have a look. I haven't peeked over there in a while. 60-45 for Toronto. Again, that just goes to show you how well they're playing here tonight.
Yeah, quite the second half by Toronto. Real gut check. Second half by the Rock. Matthews now with it. Trying to get open. Church. At the top, now has a little bit of space, but the shot hits a body, picked up by Keenan, and it's stopped by Rose. Schattler into the corner, trying to get the ball back for Saskatchewan, but it is Toronto who come up with the ball. Knocked out of the stick, though, and a big check by Rubish on Jubenville, and Saskatchewan gets it right back. Huge play by Rubish.
That is a huge turnover right there. 1:20 to go now, and I think we got a timeout, Saskatchewan here, and Evan Kirk surely coming to the Rush bench for the extra attacker. Before that, let's go down to the turf and Daniela Ponticelli.
Jake, I had a front row seat to a beautiful maneuver by Kyle Rubish. Yeah, barely took 5 steps off the bench, knew exactly what to do, popped that ball loose, and able to secure that possession for the Rush here now as they're taking a timeout, regrouping, both everyone huddled around their coaches. Very intense. They know what's at stake. 1 goal difference, and what a change. But the crowd here is just electric. Everyone on their feet, and they'll stay that way right until the end of this game. Guys?
Yeah, it's electric here inside SaskTel Center, and a huge play by Kyle Rubish to regain possession and get the Rush, allowing them to call this timeout, get set up here. Evan Kirk stays on the bench, 1:16 on the clock, and Mark Matthews will have the ball out of the restart.
So let's see what Jeff McComb draws up here. He's got 3 lefts, Matthews, Keenan, Schattler, 3 rights, McIntosh, Dinsdale, Church. Empty net, 21 on the shot clock, 1:16 on the big ticker.
And we are back underway, 20 on the shot clock. Matthews across the top, has Church, low shot, Rose with the save, and the net is empty at the other end, and it's the long change, so Kirk is going to stay there. Here comes Brock, Matthews back to play, goal, and he makes the save! Oh my, Mark Matthews, that might be the alternative save of the game right there.
Oh, bucket it is from the mailman. Not only does he deliver, but he picks up 2 as he picks up a save on the empty cage off of David Brock. Watch it again on the replay. A beauty right off the head there from Matthews.
But Toronto still with the ball, and now under a minute to go here. A chance to drain 20 more seconds here with this possession. So the big save from Matthews. Can the Rush take advantage of that extra life? Craig, the cross. Hellier can't handle that pass cleanly. Rubish in there as well as Jeff Cornwall, and Cornwall comes up with the ball.
No
30
timeout.
seconds left on the clock. No timeout for Saskatchewan. They've got to go. Kirk hustling to the bench to get the extra man on as Mark Matthews comes out.
This is it.
Church, Matthews. Will we have some late drama here in Saskatoon? Keenan for Church. McIntosh misses the pass. Dinsdale picks it up. 10 to shoot. 12 on the clock. Church back for Matthews. Back door looking for McIntosh. Misses it. Church gets it back. 5 seconds left. Schattler shoots. Rose with the save. The clock ticks down, and now Toronto gets possession. Edwards with it. 2.7 on the clock, and Toronto is going to hang on. What a second half comeback by the Rock and the Rush. Well, we're going to get a timeout here. Pardon me, I get ahead of myself. Toronto's going to take the timeout, but boy, oh boy, it's almost curtains now for Saskatchewan with just 2.7 left.
This thing's over. All Toronto has to do is chuck this ball down the floor, and this game is over. Remember, 6-2 Rush at halftime. The Rock outscore Saskatchewan 7-2 in the second half. And that's what we talked about at halftime, did we not, Ryan Flaherty? That it was only 30 minutes, there were still 30 to play, and a lacrosse game is not won by halftime, and that was the case here tonight as Toronto comes all the way back, and they're going to win this thing by a goal.
And the struggles at home continue for the Rush as they're about to fall to 1-3 here at SaskTel Center.
5-0 in the road, 1-3 at home. It makes no sense whatsoever.
Since moving to Saskatoon, 3 is the most losses they have had in one season at home. So they are now matching that here tonight, barring something absolutely out of this world here in the final 2.7 as we are just about to resume. The signal is given, the ball thrown down the floor, and that will do it. The Toronto Rock move into a first place tie in the North Division as they mount an impressive comeback here. Shorthanded, it didn't matter. They take down the top team in the West, 9-8 the final.
I mean, it's the National Lacrosse League, and that's why you love it, Flats, because anybody And I say it all the time. It doesn't matter who's playing who or where they're playing, what day it is, what month it is, what year. It does not matter. Anybody can beat anybody on any given night in this league. And Toronto walks into Saskatchewan, depleted lineup, and they come away with a 1-goal victory. Full marks to the Rock here tonight.
And their first ever win here in this building on their third visit. And you can tell just from the reaction as they come off the bench, they are really excited. This is a big, big win for Toronto.
Yeah, it is. It's a massive win, especially with Buffalo winning tonight as well. And before we get on our way here, 17 goals up on the board. And I want to get this in because the Urban family, very passionate about this charity and Operation Smile. They donated $260 for every Rush goal here tonight. And Jamie Dowick from the Toronto Rock, the owner of the Rock, donated $100 for every Rock goal scored here tonight. So a very special cause, a special charity, Operation Smile, headed up by the Urban family, and some good money raised here tonight by both teams.
All right, and we are going to now take a look, and I will concur with you there, Jake. That's a fantastic initiative, and great to see the Urbans leading the charge there. A tough night for the Rush, but some great money raised for a real important cause. Let's take a look at our Alterna save of the game, and it was Evan Kirk in a losing effort here tonight, but he was pretty darn good this evening, and this was his best of the bunch.
Absolutely. I think Mark Matthews should get an honorable mention with the head stop late in that game with an empty net. But Evan Kirk, who faced 61 shots here tonight, he was on point. He played very well in a losing effort, as did Nick Rose, stopping 39 of 47.
And we have the first star of the game standing by at floor level with Daniela Ponticelli, so let's send it down to her.
Reed, what a game, not only by your team coming out here, just knowing that you were down some of your key players and then having that score at the half, 6-2. What was that discussion in that locker room, and can you bottle that and keep it for next time?
Well, hopefully we can bottle it and keep it for next time, but our discussion in the room at halftime was we thought we played better than the score showed. We thought we had more chances than that, and we thought we ran them well, and we tuckered them out a little bit. We thought we took a chunk out of them, and our idea in the second half was to just keep going the same way we were and keep the pedal on the metal, and kind of panned out in the end, I guess.
And when you look at the score, 9-8, oh my goodness, what a crazy second half in so many ways, but also just the defensive battle. What can you say about how the defense held things down, and also how Nick Rose did tonight?
Well, these are two of the best defenses in the league, that's for sure, and our defense in the second half has been lights out this year, and we always feel like we can rely on them on offense, so we don't feel like we have to rush to get all the goals all at one time. We can just, spread it out and chip away slowly.
Okay, so after that kind of battle, do you kind of wish that you could see some more regular season action between the Rush and the Rock?
Yeah, the way the divisions are, I guess we don't get to see each other that much, but it's always a pleasure playing these guys. They're kind of the best in the league in my mind, and so it's always nice to measure yourself up against the best people.
And of course, this was an Alterna Cup matchup, but also next week you guys are facing Calgary. So are you ready for that Canadian battle?
Of course, yeah. We're always ready for the Alterna Cup battles. It's been kind of fun that we've created this game within the game type of thing with the Canadian teams here. So absolutely, Calgary's going to be a fun one.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Reed. Go celebrate with your teammates. Well-deserved win tonight.
Thanks. Nice to meet you.
Back to you guys.
Thanks so much, Daniela. Very polite, Reed Reinhold.
Oh, good guy. Good guy.
Absolutely.
Coming back off a big injury as well. It's good to see Reed Reinhold back balling for the Toronto Rock.
Well, we are going to step away for a break, but coming up on NLL Post-Game Live, highlights and analysis of tonight's game and a look at scores around the league. Lots of those to get to you. All coming up next. You are watching the National Lacrosse League Game of the Week on BR Live. Back inside SaskTel Center as we wrap up a thriller here in Saskatoon. Another close one, but another tough home loss for the Saskatchewan Rush, and what a victory for the Toronto Rock, 9-8 over Saskatchewan.
Now, what can you say about Toronto? I think you got to give them full marks here. I don't think the Rush played poorly. I think the Rock played really well. They come in here with kind of a nothing to lose attitude. No Dawson, no Schreiber up front, no Adam Jones as well. Johnny Powell stepping up. Reed Reinhold having a heck of a game here. They kept Robbie Hellier pretty much in check here tonight. but they still come away with the victory here, 9-8 as they grind this one out. They outshoot the Rush by a pretty handily margin as well, and I think they're full marks for the victory here tonight.
Reed Reinhold had 3 goals on the season coming in. He gets a hat trick here tonight and was big in the second half because the Rock didn't lead this game until the fourth quarter.
No, and you think back, right? 6-2 at halftime. They get a couple to start the second half, and then that 5-minute major from Chris Corbeil, and you thought, oh, this is the big kind of turning point of this game, and Toronto taking advantage. They only got one, but they kept that momentum going, and that really kind of helped them spur them on in the second half. So and then you look back, and the Rush had a 5-minute major of their own, and they come up empty on that, and they give up a shorthanded goal. And those 2 5-minute majors in the game, the one to Corbeil, the Rock get 1 power play goal. The Rush get a 5-minute major. Rob Hellier sitting in the box. What happens? The Rock get a shorty. And that's kind of the difference in the game here tonight in a 1-goal victory.
And a Ben McIntosh penalty taking away 2 of those 5 minutes as well on the man advantage. And the Rush usually pretty reliable on the power play, but the Rock, we know they have a good defense, and we certainly saw it on full display here tonight. You talk about guys stepping up offensively, but it was a real collective effort. That middle of the floor was a no-fly zone for a lot of the game here for Saskatchewan.
Yeah, and I want to give Bruce Cott a lot of credit. Since joining this Toronto Rock team and coaching staff, his stamp on the defense has really been noticeable coming over from Calgary. Maybe took a year and a half to kind of get his system implemented and ingrained into that defensive unit. They've made a couple of additions. David Brock has been a nice veteran addition on that back end as well. And Bruce Scott has got those guys playing well. And to hold this Rush team is coming off a 15-goal performance against Philadelphia, to hold them to 8 on their home floor here, very impressive by Toronto.
And we talked about it at halftime as we now are at the midway point for the Rush. The Rock have now played 10 games. So Saskatchewan misses a big opportunity to take over the #1 overall seed in the NLL, and instead the Rock move into a tie with Halifax and Buffalo, not only in the North Division, but also in those rankings league-wide.
Yeah, it's going to be just wild coming down the back half of the stretch. And listen, the Rush weren't going to go undefeated through the rest of the year. So losing a game at home here, not ideal. Now 1-3 at home, still 5-0 on the road. Let's not forget that either here. And they get a chance to get right back on their horse here on their home floor as Vancouver coming to town here in Saskatoon. Toronto gets to go home, and they'll await the Calgary Roughnecks, who are dueling with the San Diego Seals this evening.
Yeah, the Rush will look to rebound next week, and they'll be cheering for the Toronto Rock as well, as they'll be facing one of their divisional opponents.
Yes, silent cheering.
That's right, a little silent support as we look back on what turned out to be a real barn burner here at SaskTel Center. We talked about it, the Rush getting out to that quick early lead. Well, not quick, because it was only 1-0 after 1, but they really started to roll in the second quarter. But you just sensed that the Rock weren't going to go away. And yeah, we've talked a lot about all the guys they're missing, but it's a big story this season for the Rock. It's very impressive for them to be at 7-3 with all of the injuries they've had to deal with.
Yeah, it just doesn't matter who's in the lineup, who's not in the lineup. You got 18 guys, and they're all playing, and Toronto got the job done here tonight in Saskatoon.
So a regroup for the Rush, who have their 3-game winning streak snapped. In the Rock, after having a 3-gamer snapped last week, they get back in the win column here tonight. And yes, that top of the North Division is very crowded indeed. In the meantime, the Rush will have things tightening up a little bit in the West.
Yeah, they'll face Vancouver. They're playing Georgia here tonight, and by last look, down by about 5 or 6 against the Swarm, who are starting to find their legs a little bit as well. So it could be 2 teams coming off a loss here in Saskatoon next week for another big Alterna Cup matchup.
Once again, the final score here from Saskatoon, 9-8 in favor of the Toronto Rock. You can visit NLL.com for an all-access pass to the National Lacrosse League. Get the latest news, highlights, scores, and more. This is a lot of fun for you. Thanks for watching. On behalf of Jake Elliott, Daniela Ponticelli, I'm Ryan Flaherty. This has been a presentation of the National Lacrosse League, brought to you by BR Live.
You have been watching a special presentation of the National Lacrosse League.